Yeah. So, sometimes devices just come to the end of their life and unceremoniously shit themselves to death.
What happened, Wooly? What died?
I think like the wire connecting the I think the XLR wire just decided today's the day. Ugh.
Hmm.
And that's all it takes. It hasn't moved, hasn't done anything except sit here. And then that's it. I'm tired.
You know,
Off I go.
it's funny that you mentioned that, Wooly, because earlier this week I went through an exhaustive two-person job to troubleshoot my AverMedia capture card, which one day stopped working for PS5 and PS5 only,
Oh.
which is the part where it's just what why only this?
Obviously,
Only
not
to
HDCP.
Nope. Only to get all the way to the end, in which the person I was working with was saying, "Hey man, why don't you just swap the cables from one end to the other?" And I'm like, "There's no way that could possibly be it. There's no way switching that." And sure enough, it worked. And here's my favorite part: it worked for like 20 minutes, and then went back to not working, which the person that was helping me identified as oxidation on shitty HDMI cables.
Okay. Yeah.
So like the Amazon Basics or whatever the fuck ghetto ass fucking HDMI cables I had, just the little copper pins oxidized, and that that part where you're just going like you're trying to get it behind the monitor but you can't see the monitor and you're just like fucking fighting it for 10 minutes, and then finally the plug goes in.
The
That
weirdest
scraped
part,
the oxidation off the copper.
it's the most annoying thing ever when somewhere in the setup there's just one wire that is like completely shitting itself and you don't know
That's
which
right.
wire it is. And the thing is, I always expect it to be the one that is unplugged and replugged the most. So I'm always like ready
Maybe
to
not.
rotate out.
Maybe it's the one that's unplugged and replugged the least.
Because when I switch inputs for the consoles or the PC on the capture device, I have an HDMI that's like being pulled out and in regularly. So I'm always down ready to switch that shit up. And you're thinking that, but it's the one that has not been touched, or the mic input, the aux that just hasn't been doing anything. Of course, that's the one that makes a noise when you wiggle
Of course.
it. So, fucking awesome. All right. Well, anyway, thankfully, I've also just built up a stock of like throw that in the garbage, grab the next one.
Yeah, I had to order a batch of new cables because I had actually used up all of my cables over time, and specifically, the devices are just long enough away, just past exactly 6 feet away,
So
that the cables that I would normally use don't.
I kind of overdid it. I currently have a problem where like all around my house, I kind of have way too many USB-C cables just lying around.
That's a lot.
And like I like having the backups, but I was like, I was running out of them for like just controller chargers, and then also like I have different battery packs and things, and like a bunch of the wires I had for charging my batteries, I realized they were the shitty wires that would charge extra slow.
Discover
You don't know which ones
Discovering what?
are
Oh my
which.
god! You. Hey, I want to plug in my arcade stick with the USB extender. Okay, did you know that the cables on some arcade sticks can go into USB extenders of highly specific lengths of extension before they stop working? And that length is always less than what you want. Hey, which of these USB cables is the fast one?
Yeah.
Which of my fast charging USB cables is the actual fast one?
Yeah. So you know how I solved the problem actually?
How's that?
I bought a battery block, like the phone charger block, that shows you the speed of energy input and output. And when you plug the different
cables in.
cables
That's a very extreme way to deal with that. That is.
I needed one of them broke and I needed to replace it anyway. And so like I saw one that had a screen on it that shows you like, oh, how fast is it charging your devices or how fast is it being charged? And so you look at it and you go, this wire's garbage, throw it out. And I can just cycle through them one by one and see which ones are terrible, you know? It's fucking I hate that shit. And like you don't really there's no real like I don't think like public facing indicator of like you buy high quality charging cables, but the variance among that is not specified anywhere either. You know, it's almost like when you have like SD cards, and then it's like, oh, we have different class SD cards and different speeds, and you're like, of course that makes sense. And you know, once you get into the nitty gritty, this can be handled by this kind of camera, and this one can't. But amongst that highest class, there's still variation. Yeah. Anyway.
Isn't it fun? Isn't all this shit fun?
Hold on. No, don't store them like that. What's the proper way to store a cable? Because when you buy it, they send it to you rolled in a circle with the little...
There's no proper way to store a cable. The proper way to store a cable is up your ass.
Okay.
Until you need it.
The little Velcro strip comes wrapped around the thing, and you pull it out of the packaging, and I'm like, oh, there it is. There it is. So what are you supposed to do here? Are you supposed to fold it over itself into, like, sharp squares?
Listen, my dad taught me how to roll up extension cords for the yard 35 fucking years ago. And that's how I know how to store literally every no, not changing it. It's too late.
In my experience, whenever you bend the cable back over itself multiple times to make it like a long flattened thing, all those
that
creases
actually breaks the thing that
exactly the wiring inside actually gets put through more tension. So that seems like a bad way to do it.
No, more tension on the wire. I just want it to work. You know, I was talking about this on my stream after I did all this tech support, and I'm like, I get like unreasonably like what's the word? Physiologically activated by the frustration of having to run tech support. Like, the frustration for most things is in your head, and maybe you're like tapping your hand or whatever, but like the fucking machine that only has to do one thing, not doing the fucking goddamn thing it's supposed to do, not doing it, and for no reason, I start to like sweat and like breathe more heavily, like my body thinks I'm gonna fight a fucking bear or something, but I'm not. I'm just like, would you do fucking work?
So I mean, I've developed a shield against this by just sitting there. You've watched me do it whenever like some game setup isn't working before recording and stuff like that, where I'm like, okay, we're in problem solving mode, and like 1,000 voices are screaming inside of my head with rage at the inanimate object not doing the one job it has. But nonetheless, I've been through this, and I've also like have been through the step of, again, pulling the computer apart piece by piece to figure out which little bit is the one that is causing the problem.
Like my heart rate is up now just describing this.
Punch Mom, like when machines stop working, or like things that are just like basic just don't, she like will collapse to her knees. Like there will be a moment of just and like you got chip damaged to death at the end of the round, just complete like, nope, the shutdown, and it's like, all right, time to take over here, you know, let's figure out what's happening. Yeah, I think looking back at my rat tail of, well, they're organized, but my wires over here, I believe if they could speak, they would say, you cannot store me in a way that matters. So I'm gonna go with the way I pull it out of the box is the way I'm gonna store my wires.
I think that's appropriate. I think that's a good way to do. Man, this is not fun. This is not fun at all. Do you know what is fun? Oh my! No. Hold on. You got more about this?
I'll tell you what also isn't fun. So I discovered I have a power. I discovered a superpower.
I don't like this already.
I suspected for years that I had this, and I've dabbled, but I never quite fully experimented to confirm it, and I now absolutely have 100% confirmation of a power.
Okay, this is...
Okay, so What if I told you that whenever you wanted to, you could experience anything ranging from a bad dream to a night terror, and
Okay.
you could control how bad it gets?
Like awake?
No, when you go to sleep, you can have anywhere from a 0 to a 10 on how horrible your night is with what your brain is doing.
All
And
right.
all you have to do is ingest more sugar. I have
Wait. This is a really important detail. Is there an inverse relationship to sugar or a regular relationship to sugar for nightmare having?
if
Does
it
does more sugar equal more terror, or the
yes,
inverse?
100%.
Okay, because that's the opposite for me. If I have lots of sugar, I'm happy and I sleep so good.
What? Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, no. The more sugar I have before I go to sleep, the absolute worse of a night I'm gonna have. And like I've tested it a little bit. I've noticed I'm like, wait, what the fuck happened? Oh my god, that was horrendous. And the like, and I think about what I had right before and what time I had it, and it's always like, oh yeah, I had something sweet right then or right there before I went to bed. And I was able to confirm more or less this week. Like, I usually get like plain yogurt has been part of my regular diet as I've been eating now, and one of the plain yogurt containers actually ended up accidentally being a vanilla yogurt container, which is the complete opposite, because that goes from almost no sugar to a whole lot of it. And unfortunately, it's the kind of mistake that I'm like, I don't mind because it's delicious, but shit, let's just not go too crazy and eat like the same amount, lest you feel that rush, you know. And so I had some late night vanilla yogurt, and I was like, yeah, okay, I can feel that activating. That's doing what it does. It's definitely more than usual. And then my mom dropped off some Grenadian treats, so she came back from Grenada, you see. And
I don't
got,
actually know a single food item that is quote unquote Grenadian.
well, right here on the Grenada shirt, you can see there's a nutmeg, which is on the flag. That's the main spice that they put out.
Is that native to Grenada?
It's the main export, so it's a big deal. Which is why it's on the flag.
Well, nutmeg's good. You use that stuff.
But yeah, I think it's like the second largest exporter of nutmeg or something like that, you know. But besides that, the main deal is, yeah, they've got tamarind balls is a big one, which
Okay.
is, and a tamarind is just like, it's a type of fruit like jam thing that you just kind of take, and it's very tart. So what you do is you roll it in sugar, and then that tartness becomes like a natural candy,
All right.
right?
Yeah. That works.
There's guava cheese, where you take guava, which is another kind of like, almost like it has what's the like, almost like a maple treat consistency, like a not taffy, but anyway, it's another little like fruit thing, and it tastes good. It tastes really good. And what you do is you roll it in sugar, and then it becomes like a natural candy. You see?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And then,
I feel like a treat that part of the process is just roll it in powdered sugar is kind of like jumping the line.
and then the other thing, whenever mom goes back to the old country, is I the taste of my childhood is also these little cream filled muffins that you get at the little corner stores there, and I think it's one of those brands that is more just like a Caribbean wide brand, but it's a particular type of muffin that when I eat it, a little cupcake, when I eat it, I'm just like, oh yeah, that's not skashi, that's memories, whatever. So that too, of course, is a whole lot of sugar. So I'm like, oh yay, all these little Grenadian treats, and then that's when you go to bed and you dream of a fucking insane mass shooting event taking place inside the church school that you're at, while Everyone you know and love is there, and you are
That's
trying
good.
to figure out the situation, and it's happening on all sides, if in every
Mhm.
direction, until you wake up, and you're like, "Cool, that's a great night. I
Mm.
love that. That's really fun." And it's like, oh, that's one of the worst fucking nightmares I've had in a long time. That is directly proportional to the insane amount of sugar I had yesterday. Fair
Okay.
enough.
So you okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Um there's a lady on social media, I forget her name. Someone in the chat will fill you in. But she has like full body out and about insano psycho shit sleepwalking episodes if she eats cheese. Something
Mm.
about it causes her to fucking stand up and wander around the house and
Mm.
babble, and in some cases take things from their fridge and throw them in the yard, and then like run into the street in the middle of the night, like
Huh.
crazy shit, right? So what she does every now and then is she'll eat a bunch of cheese and then have her husband get a camera to record her nonsense. Now what you need to do, Wooly, is you need to get Punch Mom to stay up, give her a bunch of caffeine, and get her like a nice portable. And you need to just eat the most irresponsible amount of sugar you can, and she can videotape your trip through the night terror
So I don't
for
think
views.
I don't think there's much showing. I'm not a sleepwalker. My brother is. He's gotten up and like done weird walking around the house and pulling the curtains type things. And when I was a kid, I remember he like literally we woke up one night and he was yanking the curtains, and we're like, "What?" And my mom was like, "Don't wake him up. Just leave him." And then he walks back to bed, and we're like, "What? What?" I'm like, "That's real? I thought that was cartoon shit." And it's like, "No, it's real."
No, my
Um,
mom used to sleepwalk.
Crazy.
Well, actually, she probably does still, but I mean, I'm not there to see it.
I don't have that. I don't think I just think I think I don't have any like activity that would show. It's just all inside. It's horrible because
The
there's
only
the only time
Mm.
I've ever like had an action occur from sleep horror is I think I told it on the podcast, but
You
like
did, you did.
yeah, there was one time that I dreamt someone kicked the door down with like a fucking AK and just started spraying, and I like woke up and grabbed Punch Mom and rolled.
That's very sweet.
And I gator rolled off the fucking bed.
That's very sweet.
But it's insane though, and it was like, what the fuck is happening? And I'm like, where, huh, what? Because I was in the exact same place, but just the time of day was off, you know.
Mhm.
But like that's the only time anything like that has ever happened, and again, that was probably a sugar night too, you know. So anyway, I hard confirm I have the ability to give myself
This is a good ability.
the worst terrors ever. Yeah.
You know, it's strange that you mentioned this, that your discovery. I have, and this is kind of a big deal to me. I have recently started dreaming again for the first time since I was a child. Like 4 nights this week, I woke up. I'm like, wow, that's weird, Paige. I had a dream, and like the dream had stuff happen in it. Whereas like I went through a 25-30 year period of just no dreams at all. At all. Nothing.
Yeah, so I remember that, but like what? Yeah, that's weird. Like, I mean, what changed it? You know, like
What changed it is baby.
mhm.
So even on nights in which I am actually staying asleep the whole night and Paige is getting up to feed the baby, you know, do the night feeds, you kind of wake up a little bit, right? When the person next to you has to get up and do stuff, right? And I think what this is doing is breaking up my sleep cycles so that in the morning when the dog has to take a shit and the baby wakes up, I'm now waking up in the middle of a REM cycle, which is the reason why you remember a dream. Like everybody dreams, it's just you can only remember it if you wake up during a REM cycle. Because the days that I remember dreaming at all is the days that I wake up and I feel like a zombie corpse man.
Yeah, you
in
go
that-
past REM into the deepest, and then
Yeah, because like I slept like 8
resurface.
hours, but I'm happening to get up because the world around me is demanding my attention rather than the fact that I'm waking up on a natural schedule.
So
And my dreams are bullshit. They're lame. But hey, they're back. Yay.
For those who aren't aware, yeah, a REM cycle is rapid eye movement. If you look at the stages of sleep, you end up going from light sleep to different, deeper stages. And at the deepest stages, if you get interrupted, that's when your body feels like shit the most, because you're like, you haven't had the chance to resurface. So all that fog and shit is still going through, because that's when the hard drive is defragging itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically. Interesting.
So, yeah, very interesting. I can't remember any of them now though. Like, but they were like just the right flavor of banal, of like, I went to the store and got into an argument that didn't make any sense when I tried to explain it to my wife the next morning because it was dream argument.
You should try snorting a line of powdered sugar and see what that does.
Wooly, you know I have.
Yeah.
You know how people are like, oh man, sugar keeps me up. Like, dude, I could eat 10 candy bars and have a nap. Would mean with the day during the daytime.
Yeah.
Like,
it
means
weird,
nothing.
Man. I don't know. No, when I chugged those, I didn't chug any Faygo sodas when we did the Faygo test. I just tasted a single sip and spat them out. So there was no complete consumption of that. I don't know how to use this power, this newfound ability.
Well, the way to use the power is in reverse. Is that if you want to have sugar during the day, you need to wake up and eat all your candy for breakfast.
Well, so what the actual correct inverse that I have learned is through the power of the glucose monitor, I now know what creates what type of sugar spike. So if you don't get the wrong type of yogurt and you eat something sugary with something dairy like that, and I guess it depends on what kind, because I don't think milk is necessarily going to pull the same thing off. But in any case, that combination for some reason doesn't cause a massive glucose spike, you know? So there's ways to mitigate it. I've also, in general, whenever I've like, if I ever had like a really sharp, like I had like a cheesecake or something like that, and I'd feel like, woo, that's a lot. I could feel it. Chug some water, you know, and like you can
dilute it.
You can dilute it. You can fight back,
or you could just vomit it back up. That just saves you the calories too.
That is one ability as well. This is true.
Don't do that. That's a joke.
Yeah. Just some of the worst ever. So that's cool. That's fun. That's what I'm learning about myself.
Well, that doesn't sound fun either.
Anyway.
God damn.
I did have a week though. So
yeah? Was your week fun?
Just a couple things. We did some alright stuff. We read chapters 7 to 10 of Sacred and Terrible Air, the story taking place within the Disco Elysium world.
And what is that, like halfway-ish?
I think it's about halfway, yeah. It's about 20 chapters, so it should be. But they're not, like, some chapters are huge and some chapters are one page. So it's one of those types of books, you know, so it's not necessarily the exact middle, but yeah, it was cool. I'm enjoying that and getting a feel for like how to pace that type of thing and read it out. But event wise, like as expected of you know, that type of story, we're solidly in that like shit's dark, shit's really dark. It is interesting how Disco Elysium is a game, and
that's true.
And as a video game that lets you do things and choose things and play your way through it. Again, there's a lighter tone. I've said this each time I've talked about Sacred and Terrible Air. There's a lighter tone in Disco than there is to this book. But the other thing about it too is that if you were to take Disco at its like most sad or at its most brutal. Like, there's ways you can play it where it's like, let's say you go for like the insane fash racist
Doing
playthrough,
drugs.
fucked up, like everything where the narrator is just like, oh, you poor soul, right? Like, you can go through all those routes and just have the most like horrible existence, where you just drag Kim along for the ride, and it's a rough one, but the game has those routes, right? When in moments like, again, like talking to Krenel, for example, you can opt out, you can actually hit those points and basically keep yourself on a kind of goofy but still fun whodunit, or you can choose to dive in real deep and do all the extras, but it gives you the ability as a player to choose how deep you want to go. A book doesn't do that, so you're gonna get the fullest brunt of it in all things, because we are putting, it's not like there's a paragraph here that was optional to your playthrough. That's the paragraph, and this is describing
most
it.
books can't aspire to be as good as an R.L. Stine Choose Your Own Adventure Goosebumps.
Clearly not. Wait a minute. Choose Your Own Adventure Goosebumps.
Yeah.
How many of those were there? Because the Goosebumps
there were like 3 or 4.
Because I knew Choose Your Own Adventure as its own series with the Hardy Boys art covers, and then I read Goosebumps as like just straight up normal stories.
You died in like 99% of pages.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think I did any of the Choose Your Own Goosebumps. Well, anyway, you choose the scare. That rings a bell. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, so all this to say that so we're thoroughly in the middle of just the depressing, dark, fucking heinous shit, about this world, and you just got to take it for what it is, and sometimes, like, when the author writes things almost like without judgment, it's almost like more condemning in some cases because it's just presented objectively. It's like there are times when you come across the facts of the world, and here we're going to objectively describe what a monster of a human being is going to live their day-to-day moments like, matter-of-factly, and then
funny because this description you are embarking on reminds me of that famous thread on the Disco Reddit of this game seems broken and has a horrible slant against conservative values because I keep choosing options that align with my like family first and nation first values, and the game keeps calling me a fascist.
I am chuffed. I'm proper chuffed. The way this kind of hits you is, it's deliberately like succinct in describing the worst of it, and there are even moments that are like almost, how like a Tarantino movie will just have like explosive violence out of nowhere in a moment, and you're just like, oh fuck, that came out. Like, in this case, it's almost like that in book form, in the text form, but like they don't linger on it beyond the single sentence that it exists in. There's a point at which they're describing like what happened to the victim of a homicide, and like it's just, there's a one sentence like nightmare, and we're out. And you're just left.
We're not going to dwell on that.
We're not going to dwell on it, and we're just left to go back to shivers. We're talking about the sky. We're talking about the sidewalk. What's happening in that door over there? Think back on what you just read. Okay, what's happening over there? And you just kind of, it's a very and in doing that, it's like it's effective. You can almost feel like the nature of the way it's written, it's almost like it wants to get away from that. It could delve in, but no, you can just, we get it. So it's very, very again, it's very interesting so far. Gonna continue that. the second part should be up shortly. But yeah, that was part of the schedule. What else did we do? We slop streamed for a bit.
I saw some bits of the slop stream. In particular, I saw you and Reggie interacting with someone else's LP of Detroit. And like everyone got to see, and maybe you discovered it when yourself, like a new emotion on your face.
I mean, like because I had to pause to check if he had the context of what was up beforehand, and like sure enough, yes, the instant correction at mid sentence describing how Detroit is not a game about race into fucking title screen robo slave talking about the Underground Railroad. Now, I've apparently some context given later says that like in that LP, they were early on in trying to be like as nice to the game as possible, and like it was you know, I guess before some of the more overt insane parts had happened. But I also feel like the back of the bus robots, the Rosa Park bot.exe happened within the first half hour.
That's
or so.
The second scene of the game.
Yeah, so you can't really miss that.
you know, it's funny because I saw people talking about that, and they started mentioning like our old LP of it, and because we had built up a reputation for shitting on David Cage, and how we had all decided as a group, the three of us, we are gonna be super fair. We are gonna leave our shit at the door, and we are gonna take it as it is, and we are gonna give it the benefit of the doubt, to the point where apparently some of those earlier parts are almost bizarre in our willingness to like try and be like, oh, maybe something's happening here. Maybe this is gonna go somewhere.
Because I saw someone describe what we did as a hate through, and I'm like,
oh God, we tried so hard,
we
man.
Objectively went, this is a blank slate. Let's pretend nothing happened. Let's
I remember
just
sitting there
judge
and
it on
talking
its
to
own.
you and Matt like for like a half hour before we started to record about like, all right, we're all on the same page. We're all just gonna
right. And this was,
it looks cool. Probably be cool. And then we did that first Connor segment.
Yes.
And it was cool.
Yeah, the first Connor segment. And this was in the context of like a world at large that was like, nah, man, the graphics are pretty. David Cage games rule, right? Look at this quadruple A. Look at it. Come on, you guys are haters, you know? So it's just like, yeah, okay, no, completely blank slate. Let's take it as is for what it is. And yeah, at some point, the glass just shatters, man. Yeah, that was great. That was a really good clip. Incredible. Yeah, and some other, we had some other like pretty amazing moments. I saw what was probably one of the best fanimations I've ever seen of a like Donkey Kong Country be prepared villain sing-along animation. It was so good. Just no, yeah, all of that. So yeah, we're gonna drop another Wooly versus whatever soon. Currently putting it together and getting the best of it. But that was a lot of fun. And then I believe the flag of rebellion was flown.
Oh man, the flag of rebellion. What an oh man.
Huh. I mean, I don't know what your experience was like, but I was like,
my
okay.
experience was that I had a ton of fun, and I want to thank Sega for sending us free copies of Persona 5 Tactica and also responding to my invoice request in a few weeks.
Thank you for the sponsorship. Appreciate that. Played some Tactica. It did its there was some XCOMing in there. There was some.
So I felt really stupid because I loaded it up and got all the way to the first battle. And I'm like, woo, sponsorship. And then I'm sitting there, I'm like, it's XCOM? I thought it was gonna be like Fire Emblem. What? Cover? Yeah, there's a gun button.
There's a little bit of Fire Emblem, and there's a little bit of tactics and a little bit of this and that here and there. But yeah, there's cover. Yeah, absolutely. And here's your new spin-off pro tag, as you do. And here's your awesome music, and here's your Persona themed and I'm just like, man, whatever striking, dancing, like whatever we got to do tactica-ing to get to the arena, let's just get, as long as we get there eventually. Please.
No, Wooly, she's right there. You wanted Persona 5 Arena.
And
there she is. She's the main character of Persona 5 Tactica.
She is in the game. Hard confirm.
Right there.
Yeah. So it was.
She's got a spear.
I thought it was. I had fun with it. I thought it was pretty cool. I like the adaptation to the genre, and I appreciate raising the flag of rebellion. As long as society is kind of okay with it.
I think that I was very pleasantly surprised. It's like super slick, just like all the rest of them. But more than anything, I'm a big fan of every game that's like, hey, we're like a XCOM, but we're not XCOM. Says, you know what is stupid as hell is missing your shots.
Oh, the percentages.
No, it's like, are you behind full cover? You are invincible from all of this angle.
Something I'm not used to as well was it had Rabbids style movement apparently too, where you don't move on. It's isometric, but you don't move in an isometric way.
No, you just move wherever, bro.
You run wherever, but where you stop is on the grid. So it's like, oh yeah, I guess so. You don't really have to move on the grid. It just makes things more chessboard like.
Yeah, so instead you get to have nice running animations instead of the old FF Tactics style, like just little idle thing on the.
Yeah, I'm like, why not? I get it. So yeah, seems pretty dope as far as the spin-offs go, and I can definitely penetrate that a bit better than I can penetrate Etrian Odyssey, as a genre to insert P5 into. So.
A game series that I am loath to use the word penetrate with, but it is difficult to get used to. Definitely.
That was all right. There was a weekend beta for Unisys, and that is to say,
oh no.
Hold on, I got this. Under Night in Birth 2, Cis Celeste.
That's the... Oh, come...
Yeah.
It's on purpose. They're not even doing it because they think it sounds cool. They're doing it because it's hard to say.
So the thing, the term is chuny text, right? Chuny text is everywhere. Named for Chunibyo, the middle schoolers with overactive imaginations.
Middle school
edgelords with their superpowers, right? So as long as you take a paragraph of text and put it in a small font and have it in the background, damn, you're stylish. What does it say? Shut up, you're stylish, bro.
I don't know what it says, and it doesn't have to actually be readable in any language that people speak.
The equivalent of the 90s like bro with the kanji tattoo that he doesn't understand what the fuck it says. It's just that inverted culturally. And so yeah, there was the first screenshots of Under Night 2 that were like, they were missing the chuny text, and then they went back and added that shit.
Hooray.
Can't miss it.
Hey, I have a stupid question. Is that win quote referencing Blaze Blue real?
Super real. So
what the fuck? That's hilarious.
So Eltnum, the guest character, from Melty Blood, has got a win quote in there, where she just roasts the company. Right. And so for context, the French Bread, the developers, they said in the past, they're like, we want to surpass BlazBlue as the main anime franchise, and we want to do that with Under Night. You know, we want to push this and work on it and get it to be the premiere, because BlazBlue was the big one, you know, especially pre-Strive. So then in game, she says, "Nice job, French bread. You can say that you've put up some pretty decent achievements. Even the Americans seem to think highly of you, but you still haven't taken down BlazBlue, have you? Be honest."
That's
like,
great.
why are you shitting on your own company?
That's great, man.
So
Because they're not too proud, and good for them.
and she's coming from two worlds, so she can double shit if she needs to. Yeah. Shion Eltnum. Anyways, that there was a beta, and I appreciate very much that between the Grand Blue versus beta that just passed and this one for Under Night, they both were featured. They both featured training mode, and this one even featured local play, and
that's nice.
Awesome. Yeah, because a lot of online betas will come out and force you to just jump online because they want to test the online matchmaking, and they want to force as many matches as possible. But like as a result, so when DNF came out, you can't even get your bearings over what button does what anywhere. You have to go into an online match.
Yeah.
You know?
I'll be honest. If I was putting out one of these betas, I would also not include training mode. I don't care about you getting good at the game. I care about my network data.
So the thing is, though, is that it serves as a demo for people, right? This is not just a beta test to test the network capabilities. It's also everyone's first impression of the game hands-on. So it's working as a demo, limited time. So by having the other features be there, and in Grand Blue's case, they had Grand Blue's Final Fall Guys mode, you know, and here, not only did they show off that they had a training mode and local play and stuff, they even went as far as putting in one of the most degen features I've ever seen, which is incredible. The ability to boot the game to the training mode lab.
Oh, that is for freaks.
You skip the logos, you skip the press start screen.
For freaks.
No. Just like Slippy. So when they made rollback for Melee, Slippy boots right to the fucking multiplayer menu. Right to, you know, choose your character. And here it's just like that. Ultimate degen hours. Incredible. Unbelievable. That is like
gross.
I would never ask anyone making a game to do that, because I'm like, that's kind of rude to be like, damn, you don't even want to. What about the credit of your logo and I guess even the press start screen, right? There's a little bit of a like, hey, we made this, you know? And they're like, we don't give a fuck. You want to get right in, you get right in, straight off the fucking boot, you know? Incredible. And I'm thinking back to like there was a time where it might have like been against lot check for Nintendo or something to do that, but you know, we live in a day and age where you can get past that. But yeah, real degen hours there, appreciated. The only other game I think that like approaches, well, so Street Fighter 6 has a really great rematch button, as we pointed out initially. Before that, Akatsuki Blitzkampf was the fastest. The moment the final hit of the round occurs that KOs, you press start and you teleport to the character select screen. Like there's zero downtime, and it's a little bit of that vibe.
Fighting game people, there's time.
Fiends, gremlins, they need it. They need it in the veins.
You don't need to run sets at your wedding, bro. Just chill out. Enjoy the reception.
They did run sets at the wedding. Yeah. But all that aside, though, I mean, fuck, man. Ridiculous garbage naming conventions aside, the Eunice is it's a fucking good game, man. It's really fun. The new characters are a like normal student kid with a like cyber arm with a big shield, and he has a shield button, and he just, you know, charging stars his way in. And then there's Gun Girl, who does equilibrium gun flips and shots and setups. So the ultimate setup trick offense character, and then the ultimate in just pure defense. And yeah, just messing around with that. Like I'm like, okay, really simple, right? The characters are pretty quick to get the basic grasp of. The system has always been the one where I'm like, there's the grid, or there's a lot of little aspects to it, but it's good depth. I like as well that like every character has 45 colors to pick from off the jump.
Okay.
So pick your fucking cosmetic flavor. It's all there. There's like every reference you want to get to things, every just version, every like just it's 45 fucking colors per character. You're gonna find 3 or 4 that you love. Incredible. And then of course customize it if you are looking to do your own thing. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's that is a that like if you're like, yeah, we're not going to sell cosmetics or whatever, this is what it is, that's the best thing you can do, and incredible with that. So much appreciated. And we just touch buttons, had some fun. I definitely appreciate like all of that. And then also rollback, yay.
So, I heard good things about every single game that featured rollback this week, including like KOF 13 Global Match. Apparently KOF has good rollback.
Global Match quietly rolled out.
Wooly, you and I and all the other people on all their other shows and at events just being insufferable fucking idiots all the time about rollback has finally done it.
It's happened. We've bullied an industry into listening, and all it took was just like nightmare levels of harassment of all the devs of these games for about a decade, pissing them the fuck off.
And approximately 7 million worldwide deaths from COVID.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
The global pandemic also might have had an effect on the development of rollback netcode.
I mean, whatever stubborn steps it took, I suppose.
What?
No. Yeah, it is it is insane that
we've had some hot takes on this fucking podcast. That might be the one.
Boy. All right. Well, yeah, it is fucking just it's kind of unreal to look around and see that many games actually fucking have it at this point, and like they're going back and shoving it in others, and in some cases we're like waiting on updates, and sometimes it's not working. Sam's show is still fucking, hey,
DBZ's getting rollback.
Yeah, waiting on it
any day now.
Waiting on it
any day.
But they did.
I was able to make a whole new person with my wife in between the rollback announcement for DBZ. That's too long.
And its release. The rollback rumbling, huh? Yeah, is that what we're doing?
No. Come on,
stop it. Listen, there's a KOF global match dropped, and that has it in it, and I guess we'll have to see what's going on with Tekken 8. It remains unclear at this time.
Tekken 8 is gonna look real stupid if it doesn't have the good net code when like everything from the pony game to Unisys to Street Fighter, just they're all good to play on the internet.
And it also helps when I think too there's been an increasing amount of like reference points for studios to work with. Like there's like a rollback expert that's like, hey, Japan, call that guy, and like that's been happening more and more frequently, where they're just like, okay, just there's someone who knows and can help you walk through this process. Contact your local rollback dealer today. Yeah, so Unisys this is Unisys Celeste. It's good. It's good.
I saw someone in the chat mention that the anime nerds are trying to get it to be toony as its attempt at a name, and I don't know if that's gonna stick.
Toonie? Like uni
The
tune?
number 2 N-I.
No, I mean, but it's not. No, but that's not what they did, though. That's not what they did. It's you. I mean, you can go with like Unitwist Celeste. You can go with Unitwist if you want. That'd be closer. But anyway, game good, name bad. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, we've had a lot of that going out.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was pretty much me. We're gonna be back this week with some other stuff, so I'll pop the schedule up. But as per usual, Wooly Versus on Twitch and on YouTube. Oh, and over on Wooly Versus the Algorithm as well. Some fun clips have been dropping. What the fuck was it? Shit. There was the argument best rogue 90s X-Men or X-Men Evolution. A good day for violence. You can.
Okay. I need to ask you what side you're on because I really hope it's 90s X-Men.
I came to I had to really look inside and confront the myriad truths to get to a conclusion on that one. It's a brutal question.
It's not. It's super easy.
Nope. I disagree. And I think I come to the conclusion ultimately that if we walked into a blank slate white room, looked at both designs on paper and had no attachment or memories or anything associated with them, Evolution wins. But my memories, the nostalgia, the voice, all of that for the 90s X-Men, like that's just it can't fail. It's too
You're on
ingrained.
drugs. You're insane. You are inventing a series of cope ass reasons to make yourself feel better about your dumb choice.
It's that's how I feel. If I didn't know anything about the characters and saw them for the first time, goth Southern Belle is gonna take it. That's just the way it is. But because I have way more attachment to original Rogue, that's the way I feel. That's my pick, and it's purely biased, hard biased. I don't think if I were just seeing both of those objectively, I'd be like, yeah, go with that one for sure. Nuh-uh. That ain't it.
I will
Southern Belle, bro.
I will now move away from the conversation because we
There's
will
a
just
choker.
argue this for the rest of the day. But I will do so with derision as I theatricality roll my eyes at you. Okay, Wooly, whatever you say. I guess we'll just agree to disagree.
I don't give a fuck what you agree with or don't agree with, dude. That's what it is. Again, if you're going to hand wave the fact that there's a choker, you're nuts, bro. I'm sorry. That is a real fucking... You have to look those two objectively and confront something about yourself before you call it. Listen. All kinds of good stuff like that available over at Wooly versus the Algorithm. So go check it out. Some fun clips. Check them out. What's going on with you?
All right, let's see. Play Persona 5 Tactica. That's fun. I went through Alan Wake's American Nightmare for the first time. I had never played it. That is a game that I had to sit down and explain. All right, gang. This is about as Xbox Live Arcade as a game I've ever played on my show. Many of you don't know what the fuck Xbox Live Arcade is. It is a $15 to $20, very short game that is a lot more focused on action, and it has a horde mode in it, despite the fact that its like premise doesn't really fit with that.
So I would say it's an indie game, but that doesn't capture the feeling.
And we can have a much more interesting conversation about what an indie game is in just a few minutes.
Indie game doesn't describe the feeling of an Xbox Live arcade game.
No, it is a big budget Xbox Live arcade game. Actually, like it looked great for the time, and as a Remedy game, it feels great and shoots great. In particular, it's a much faster, snappier shooter compared to Alan Wake original. It is also fiendishly short. I easily cleared the whole thing in 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And they also got their money's worth out of those assets because you're actually completing 3 levels 3 times in a row in order to reach the ending of Alan Wake's American Nightmare.
So when you bought an XBLA game, your expectation was that you were getting minimal, like, content length.
It's a cheapie game. It's a cheapies.
How did you play it, actually?
I played it I played the Steam version.
Okay, so they ported it, and then you.
I played the Steam version that came out in 2012 or 2013.
Okay.
Whenever that was, which is fun because you get to play a game that was clearly built for 720p at 4K, and you're like, I can't read the mini map at all because it is taking up an area of my monitor the size of my thumb. Because none of the interface can scale at all. That being said, it does something really, really, really fun. So it is Alan Wake. He's a writer. This is going to become an ongoing thing for the remainder of the conversation we're having today. Yep. And he shows up and he goes, "Hello, I'm Alan Wake and I'm a writer, and I am trapped in the sequence of bad decisions I made at the end of Alan Wake 1, in which I was a writer there."
This takes place in between 1 and 2?
This takes place in between 1 and 2 in the not real world.
Okay.
It represents a series of drafts Alan is attempting to write to get out of the hell that he has put himself into.
I see. Okay.
And what might be my favorite example of like, hey, Wooly, did you know that like Scott Pilgrim's not like a good person?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know you're that little factoid,
that little bit
that everyone just keeps coming back up with over and over and over, which is actually really funny about Scott Pilgrim because he goes up and, a Pac-Man, blah blah blah. But every time I talk about or play Alan Wake, someone in the chat goes, Alan doesn't seem to be a particularly good writer.
Oh. Oh, interesting.
Like every hour on the hour, someone goes, it doesn't seem like Alan's a really good writer.
Now, is there an understated thing that is like, this is established from the contents of the previous games?
In Alan Wake, and in Alan Wake American Nightmare, and in Alan Wake 2, you are constantly finding your primary collectible, which is manuscript pages.
Yeah.
Which are going to describe via, like a Stephen King novel, some event that will occur, right? And while they're really fun and inventive and like fun to read inside the game's fiction, they're also like needlessly deterministic and metaphor filled to the point of absurdity and
just hack shit.
Yeah. Because he's a crime.
Okay.
He's a pulpy crime novelist.
Okay.
Who got trapped writing a thriller and then got trapped writing a horror book, and this subtext becomes the text when you play Control and get to talk to a couple people about what do you think of Alan Wake the writer.
Oh.
And they say he's pretty good, but he uses metaphors too much.
Huh. Because, I, from the outside, would have assumed that Alan Wake is the Stephen King of his world.
He is the Stephen King of his world. and Remedy is saying that Stephen King, while a great writer, is maybe not the best writer.
Okay, gotcha.
So
Does
American
Alan Wake
Nightmare,
use magical Negroes at any point?
no, he did not.
Okay,
not that. Well, not to my knowledge.
Not yet.
No, actually, no, he does.
Wait, Duddy.
Alan Wake 2 features a prominent magical Negro named Mr. Door.
Oh,
Who was
okay.
supposed to. Everyone keeps arguing about this. There's debate as to whether or not he was going to be played by Lance Henriksen.
Okay.
Not Lance Henriksen, Lance Reddick. Sorry.
Lance Reddick, yeah.
Lance Henriksen's a very different non-black person.
Absolutely. Well,
because Reddick played a character in Quantum Break named Mr. Hatch. And now there is a similar character who runs an almost Eric Andre style talk show named Mr. Door.
Well, that's so. I guess he's a shoo-in for the American Society of Magical Negroes. Then
that's correct.
Ideally,
a movie in which you have to say the whole movie title,
the whole thing,
in order to get your ticket.
That's correct. Where's the ride? I see no problem there. One ticket to what, sir?
Yeah,
what would you like to see?
I'm sorry. Could you say it really, really loud, please?
Why would I buy this on my phone through the app? Does it ask me to confirm it via Siri? Why do I have to talk it in? Voice command.
Also, come to think of it, the main character of Alan Wake 2 is a black woman, and she also has magical powers.
Well, that's great. That's real neat.
Yeah, it is neat. So she is what? She's Black Swedish. Named Saga Anderson. But regardless, back to what do you call it? American Nightmare. American Nightmare is having you redo levels over and over and over. And the reason why is because it is based around a time loop. Alan is like kind of stuck writing himself, like literally written himself into a corner.
Different drafts of the same story.
And so has to keep redoing the events. But it does something really fun because everyone in the loop remembers everything.
Interesting.
So what ends up happening is you do the first level. I'll use that as an example. Oh no, evil monsters coming outside of the evil monsters are coming out of an oil derrick, right? Okay, so in the page that Alan finds, I was able to shut off the oil derrick once the lights were on and the valve was turned and a certain song was playing, right? So we realized, I got to get a battery, I got to get a CD, I got to get a valve handle, and then I'll go and do that. And that's your first level, right? So the most of that first level is you going around and getting these items, and then you set it up, and then you fight a couple monsters, and then you leave. On loop 2, the lady who's in the stage goes, yeah, it's weird. I can remember you doing that. So I just got all of that shit here.
Oh, okay.
So here it is.
Huh.
And then you grab it and you go and do it.
Is he narrating as things happen?
Yes.
Okay. So like Strangers in Fiction?
Mainly through manuscript page, because all the manuscript pages are narrated when you pick them up.
Okay.
And then on loop 3, she goes, oh, right. So you come out and you look at the oil derrick, which usually you have to go down to the motel and come back, and all the stuff is already in place. Like, she didn't just get it, she literally set it all up.
Interesting.
And you just do it and it's done. And they all kind of work like that. So I was told it was like 4 hours, but the first loop took me 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this isn't fucking 4 hours. That's ridiculous. But then the second loop took me like an hour and 20 minutes. And then the third loop between all 3 levels took me like a half hour, because it's going even to places where like Alan is like driving, and instead of parking in the parking lot at the beginning of the level, he just went to the parking lot at the end of the level.
Okay.
Because he's like, oh, well, I'm going to have to turn the power back on, so I'll just drive over there and just start the level there.
All the things you would do on your speed run, like yourself, basically.
Yeah, and it's just this fun little action game that everyone seems really hung up on its canonicity as to whether or not it is part of canon or if the events directly occurred, it doesn't matter. The setting allows for a bunch of non-starter, non-canon events to have happened, but not to have counted.
I mean,
It's just
the ultimate things that always that the real question is like whatever characters were introduced in these spin-offs, do they
there are
show
no
up?
characters introduced in this spin-off.
Then whatever. Yeah. Okay.
There are there's a couple people you run into that Alan's like hello, and they're like hello, and they don't matter. The only person that matters is his evil double, which is in all of the games. So whatever. So Alan Wake's American Nightmare, done and dusted in 4 hours. Fun little game if you can pick it up on sale. It's a cool little flashback to like 11, 12, a while ago. Right? It's fun.
Untouched since then.
And it gets to play a little bit with like the zanier parts of the fiction. And it's like, it's an Xbox Live Arcade game, and it's more actiony. Like by the end of that game, something that does not occur in Alan Wake is you have like an assault rifle and a sawed-off, and you're shooting like 10-foot tall fucking hillbilly chainsaw mans.
Okay.
And even Alan is like, this is kind of hack shit.
Nice.
When you see the hillbillies, like this is kind of fucking
much
stupid.
Is there no like bundle that is like, hey, go grab the
Fuck
2,
no!
1, and
You want to hear the best part about playing all 3 Alan Wake games in a row? Okay, here we go. The version of Alan Wake Remastered is better than like visually, they changed some of the models, than the original Steam release that came out in 2010. But the version on the Epic Store is fucked up. So if you want to play the good version of Alan Wake Remastered, you play it on a console. Then you want to play Alan Wake's American Nightmare? Well, hope you have an old Xbox or a current Steam account, because that's the only places that you're going to find it. And then, fun fact, if you want to play Alan Wake 2 on the personal computer, you must play it through the Epic Game Store, because that is the only place where it is. And it was directly funded by Epic, so it's not coming off.
Yeah.
Or you could play the console versions, which look and perform way worse. However, and this is really important, do not buy games on the Epic Game Store. I said, you know what? I'm only going to play... it's one game. It's not... You know what? I'm just going to stream it. That's fine. So, the other night I was playing Alan Wake 2, and then I was like, I'll go help put my child to bed. My human child, whom I love. I will help place him in his little bassinet and goo goo gaga him and serenade him to sleep with my wife, and it will be a wholesome moment, and then I'll come back 10 minutes later, and I will resume playing my spooky Alan Wake game. And I sat down to a completely black screen. And I'm like, that's weird. And then I clicked on it, and it told me that the game was in the process of crashing because I was running an external overlay on top of it, which I was not.
Nice. Cool.
And then when it crashed, I noticed that I had been logged out of the Epic Game Store. So I went to go log back in, and it was like, well, the servers are down worldwide, and despite the fact that you had saved your credentials for offline mode, because you didn't lose your internet because they lost their authentication, it's dead.
Look, I don't think...
I spent half an hour trying to get it back up.
Look, I don't think anyone's showing up to the Epic Game Store because they want to. They're showing up because that's how you got to play fucking Rumbleverse when that's the only way to play it, or that's how you got to play at the time when I was Hades when it's the only way to play it, or Darkest Dungeon,
So like specifically, Epic Game Store does not have an ability to go, hey, I would like to play in offline mode. It only says, hey, let me keep playing if I'm offline.
Yeah. Which
means that if their off servers fail, it knocks you off anyway. It's only if it fails on your end, not if it fails on their end. So it was, oh boy, oh, very, very, don't buy games on the Epic Game Store. In fact,
you can
every time
avoid
I
it.
stream Alan Wake 2, I'm going to talk about how you shouldn't buy games on the Epic Game Store.
I mean, Sifu was also on console, thankfully, right? So,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, if you, I mean, you don't always get a choice depending on the game.
So, pile of shit. I hate it. My streams are actually going to be titled "Don't Buy Games on the Epic Game Store." Also, Alan Wake 2. For the remainder of me going through this game, I'm so frustrated by it. Total momentum killer on that. However, Alan Wake 2 itself. Oh man. Oh man. Oh god. Oh man. I have not. Hey. Have you ever imagined what it would be like if instead of being a Japanese guy, Hideo Kojima was Finnish and wanted to write games in the sauna?
Wait, what?
Then you need to play Alan Wake 2, because this is the most self-indulgent, masturbatory, in love with itself video game I have ever fucking played, and it is so goddamn good. You can see Sam Lake in a sauna going, I'm writing so much video game right now. Ooh, I'm a writer. Because the game's about being a writer.
Mm-hmm.
And as a writer, it's writing the most writing I've ever seen in a writing game with writing in it.
Okay.
Sam Lake plays Sam Lake in this game. The actor who portrays Alex Casey, also known as Max Payne, who is also a real person in the game, voiced by Max Payne's voice actor.
I see. Okay. So
who
we're
is
doing
upset
this.
at the movie rendition of the fake character Alex Casey.
Yeah.
Because
okay,
he's a real character named Alex Casey. And the whole time I'm sitting there going, is he even a real person at all? Who is also the same voice actor as Thomas Zane, a character from the first game, and Zachariah Trench, the director from Control, which is crazy because Thomas Zane used to be voiced by James McCaffrey, who was Max Payne, but now is voiced by the actual real Finnish actor who plays Alan Wake in live action. So that you can have scenes of Alan Wake talking to Thomas Zane, who looks like Alan Wake, and it's Alan Wake's voice actor talking to Alan Wake's actor.
So you're describing a Black Mirror episode, is what's happening here, because like it sounds like we're attempting to get meta on a level that that a Black Mirror episode has attempted. And does it land?
Oh man, does it land?
Okay.
I walked away from my second sitting with that game going, it has been the first time since Metal Gear that I feel like me going through all of the stuff beforehand was actually worth it. Usually it's not. If you played through Drakengard for shit to learn about Nier, you fucking wasted your time. You wasted it.
Context is nice, but you probably could have gotten.
If you went through Nier in order to find out stuff for the Nier collab in 14,
well, then you played a good game.
Wasted your time.
Well,
right?
Not really. Those are good games. You know. Nothing wrong with
no, but in terms of like getting more out of the thing later,
getting what's connected to it. Yeah,
like okay. Alan Wake 2 is, I'm going to assume, just as crazy and just as fancy if you have not played any of the others. But it also works on the assumption that you played Alan Wake 1 and Control yesterday.
Mm-hmm. That's what you said, yeah.
But it's much stronger than I anticipated. That was secondhand information. I'm now going firsthand. Yeah, it is under the assumption that you are binging this on Netflix.
So you mentioned a lot of that prior, but I guess so the update here is and it's worth it. It sounds like.
Oh, it's super worth it.
Okay.
It's It's changed genres, which I think is expertly dealt with in game, in that Alan was writing thriller and now he's writing horror. So it is moved from a action game, like a shooting action game, to a survival horror game.
Okay.
Um,
I mean,
it is scary as hell, actually.
It's still a shooter, but the way resources and threats are handled is different then.
Instead of being built off of Max Payne, it's built off Resident Evil 2 remake.
Okay.
Like that's its core inspiration.
Interesting.
It is doing a lot over and over and over, mechanically and stylistically. It is having unreliable narration from multiple points. It is constantly switching your location. It is having you scrounge around in the dirt to find little pieces of information to put on a mental cork board so that you can solve parts of the mystery. Gene was hanging out in chat when I was playing through it, and he was like, see, we don't need Silent Hill anymore. And I'm like, you know what?
Damn. Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
I can see it.
Really?
See it.
You're co-signing that?
Yeah.
Wow.
It has so I'm very lucky that I haven't just played through the games that this is taking from, both directly and indirectly. It is also I'm also very familiar with the TV show that it is stealing the most from, which is Twin Peaks season 3, The Return.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where Alan's sequence is called The Return.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the same fucking title. It's laughably overt.
I don't know why so the Deadly Premonition Twin Peaks like vibe has always been like one that I'm peripherally aware of, but like, yeah, I now I'm like, I don't know anything really about Alan Wake, but like for some reason I feel like it probably also belonged in that category
so
too.
I was talking about that when I was going through Alan Wake, and I was like, what the hell happened that in 2010 2 different games that are based off of Twin Peaks came out? Like, that's weird, right? To which somebody said
Quite.
that the worldwide DVD box set for Twin Peaks came out in like 2007. So that kind of does that. People are telling me that it was called Return before Twin Peaks is The Return. Well, that's just perfect. But yeah, no. Alan Wake is fascinating. It's visually incredible, like from a directing, integration of live action, integration of mixed media, integration of sound, voice, incredible graphics, fantastic character performances. It's fun to play, it's spooky, and it is constantly, incessantly self-indulgent in its own premise, that it feels like I am witnessing Finnish genius Kojumbo just work their fucking like
Moving it up.
Icelandic magic.
Getting all in there. Okay.
It is incredible.
I mean, from the bit described about the talk show that he walks in on or whatever, like I'm already like, oh, there's a meta talk show bit somewhere in there. So
Oh,
yeah,
there sure is.
they must be willing to jump all over the place and do mixed wild shit.
You know what? I was just reminded of probably the best example of just how incestuously self-indulgent this game is. So Quantum Break is fully owned by Microsoft and thus cannot be included. This Remedy thing. However, you could, for example, have a relative of the original sheriff from I almost said Twin Peaks, from Bright Falls. Her name was, I forget her first name, but it was Breaker, Sheriff Breaker, right? So maybe it's her little brother, maybe it's a cousin, but regardless, you run into the new sheriff, whose name is Tim Breaker, who happens to be portrayed and acted by the actor who played the main character in Quantum Break, a game in which you are constantly time breaking all over the place.
Okay.
And you go, and he looks at you and goes, "Hey, I'm Tim Breaker." Ah? Ah?
So do
And
they
then
do
he just disappears from the game after his reference is over.
So do they just like take Alan Wake's character and recreate the first level of Max Payne and just let you play that at some point and fucking like yeah, okay, yeah.
No. You know what? I'm gonna answer that really carefully.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
With the phrase no.
No. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty fun. That's a cool idea. Yeah. I see.
It is like you run into Alex Casey, the fictional character, at one point, and if anyone was confused that this is Max Payne now that they don't own Max Payne anymore, he's wearing Max's ugly tie. Like, it is a 1-to-1 recreation of the character in a fancier polygon with a different name.
Hey man, when we went back to Shadow Moses and MGS4, I enjoyed it. I'm down for this. Do we keep it low poly though, I guess is the question. Or
no.
Yeah,
it's everything is immaculately perfectly detailed and gorgeous.
That's fun.
I am the entirety of the time I was playing that game, I am sitting there going, how much of what I am playing is actually happening, and how many of these characters are even real? And that feeling never left. I don't know.
I appreciate people have heard me say this before. I appreciate when an entry in a series comes out that is like a love letter to all the things prior and just fully embraces that and like goes all in on it. That happens in a couple other things that I really enjoy. So this sounds kind of like that.
It's you're playing through it and you're like, boy, Remedy loves Alan Wake. And they love that Alan has to tell you that he's a writer every time you interact with him. I'm pulling you out of the fucking mud after you appeared there for no reason. Who are you? I'm Alan Wake. And then you just perk up your ears and you lean real close. It's like, oh. And then he says it. And you're like, yay. And you clap. And then you get back to the mind-bending nonsense of the story. But then the chapter ends, and then you have the in-house band at Remedy play a fucking great piece of original music that I think is spoiling the game after the end of every chapter. But I don't know.
Music spoilers, okay. Interesting.
Like these incredible rock ballads that are like, I'm a writer, and I'm trapped in hell, and I'll get out with the fancy... or, whatever. Just like, I feel like it's just telling me the whole plot, but I can't quite understand what it means.
Feeling spoilers. Okay.
Yeah, it is stellar. It is absolutely fucking fantastic. The only flaws is the Epic Game Store, and then when you go to load the map, the map takes a really long time to load in because it wants to load like a physical map that exists inside your mind place, and it loads in the map, but the map has like a fucking shitty texture, and you have to wait a second. That's my two complaints.
Okay. How far are you?
I am 6.5 hours in ish. As to what that actually means, compared to the rest of the game, I have no idea. The chapters are also like really confusingly titled in that Saga and Alan you play as both the FBI profiler lady and Alan, and their chapters.
Yeah, the lady from the trailer.
Yeah, the trailers are labeled differently, in which like Saga has chapter 1 and chapter 2 of her book, and Alan has chapter 1 and chapter 2 of his book.
Okay.
Super good, cool, very, very interesting, very, very rewarding, extraordinarily rewarding. The only last thing that I want to say is that like the very first thing that you see in the game once you get control is what is supposed to be a bloated, waterlogged zombie corpse man that happens to look exactly like my naked body. and like you perform an autopsy on this person, and I'm like, this is violently uncomfortable. This is really, really uncomfortable.
Lowercase hey. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was, you do that thing where you load up a game on PC and you tweak the settings and you put an OBS to make sure it runs good. And I took a screenshot of it and sent it to Paige, and she was like, "What the fuck is this? Why the fuck are you? Why?" And I'm like, I don't know why my fucking naked body is in there.
I mean, I'm sure at some point in this industry you're going to encounter models of characters that look uncomfortably like you going through Mortal Kombat style disembowelment and just have to deal with that.
But instead it's like, look at this balding, gross, naked guy stalking you through it's scary because he's so disgusting. And I'm like, oh, that's my feelings. Oh no.
Okay.
If you want to see more Alan Wake 2, you can go down to twitch.tv/PatStaresAt. I'm also going to be going back to Like a Dragon Gaiden. And I decided, fuck it, on Friday I'm going to start an Elden Ring randomizer run, which was really simple to set up, actually. Like, very easy to do so.
I imagine the bigger profile of the game, the more organized the entire modding thing is, because
it took me like 30 minutes. It was like I plugged this in here, I put it in there, and then I loaded the game in and went to the tutorial cave and found like a fucking dragon upside down, clipping through the wall, breathing fire at me at the tutorial grace. And I was like, yep, that definitely worked.
Wait, it randomizes enemies, not just items?
Randomizes everything.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
Any enemy that exists on like the dungeon table or the world table can be swapped with any other enemy on the dungeon table or world table. So like I ran into like, the tutorial cave in Elden Ring's really small.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of those like fucking 25-foot golems was there, but it's only his knees poking out of the ceiling.
Or you can run into that giant fucking the Princess Corpse arena and fight a snail.
Well, you know what happened? I walked outside, and you know where that knight is, the halberd guy on the horse? Mm-hmm. Ulcerated tree spirit.
Yeah, there you go.
And I went, God damn it.
Enjoy that. You want to talk about a randomizer? Well, half the deck is ulcerated tree spirits sprinkled in. Shuffle that shit.
Here's the really goofy thing about the Elden Ring randomizer from the way I was messing around with it. Because of the way Elden Ring... So, do you know how enemy stats are calculated in that game? Probably not, because why the fuck would you ever look that up?
No.
Enemies have like a universal baseline for their stats, but the area of the game they exist in multiplies those stats.
Yeah, so Caelid has you're from Caelid fucking buff.
Yeah, and there's actually a massive like 93 part chart somebody defined about like what values are kicked up by what amount, which means when you randomize it and you grab ulcerated tree spirit and put it in Limgrave, its stats move down.
It goes weaker
to be appropriate.
Limgrave. Yeah, interesting.
So like the game still keeps its like Like,
That's
obviously, enemy
really
placements
smart.
and boss placements are going to be one thing, but like if you ended up fighting Melania where you fight Margit, she would be statistically the appropriateness of Margit, but her moveset would be bullshit.
This allows them to design without having to worry about where or when things are going to happen if they're still deciding how like an expected playthrough might go. You know, they can balance later by just toning up or down the zone. That's
but what
really
it means
smart.
is that the randomizer auto balances itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is
So it
just
still
this
works.
friendly little bonus to the way that it works. So I'm interested in seeing what happened.
Cool
with that.
Yeah, when I remember when installing mods for Mass Effect, it was like there's a container that is just like again, it's set up so that you can just browse and click what you want, and you know, like it's self up like a lot of that stuff. I feel and again, the bigger the game, the more organized it is, and yeah, minimal effort required.
Yeah, I did have to open up a notepad, and I did have to write some words in order to get it running. But the other thing is that with the, I might as well say it here, so if anybody wants to use it, there is a alternative save location mod that is also on the Nexus next to the randomizer. And what it does is that when you install it, when you load up a modded Elden Ring like session, all the new save files have a different save file extension that sits in your folder. That keeps all your vanilla saves completely clean, untouched, and doesn't let you use your vanilla saves on your modded playthrough.
Smart.
So you get to keep Steam Cloud. Your regular saves don't get fucked with. Yeah. Your modded saves are isolated and will never touch the online.
The integrity check is completely successful.
It's very useful. Very, very useful. It's called Alternative Save Mod. You can find it. It's on the Nexus. So yeah, I'm gonna see how far I can get on that on Friday. Though there are combinations of this event, of this randomizer, that are incompletable. Like there are bosses you can end up phase. Like somebody mentioned, there are certain rooms you can get into where Elden Beast will spawn, and Elden Beast will take up the entire arena.
Okay.
Like the whole thing. Like literally the whole thing, because he's too big.
I'm like, are there any bosses where you need like a specific like key type thing to like where you're locked out, you know? But I guess not. If anything, it would just be the difficulty of the placement.
Well, you know, I have it on here. I can load it up because there's some fun little options that I would never have expected.
You can reroll if you get fucked out of a progression.
What's that?
You can reroll apparently. If you hit a wall like that.
So options available. How many great runes do you need to access the final boss? How many great runes do you need to enter Laydell? How many great runes do you need to enter the mountaintops? Do you want the key items that let you into Stormvale and Liurnia to still be in their same locations so that you can actually do those dungeons early without having to look everywhere on the map? Do you want to have the ability to purchase hints for where key items are in case you're absolutely fucking stuck? Do you want to randomize shop materials? Do you want to randomize where all the golden seeds are, where every major boss is? Enemies, scale up and down multi-phase bosses slightly. Do you want to edit the boss names? This is the most fun part of the whole thing. You load into a fucking arena
made for stream,
and the bosses, like say, like, you know, Millennia is actually called Millennia Blade of Mikola.
Mm-hmm. So
if you encountered Millennia in where you would fight Margit, it would be Millennia the Fell Omen.
Oh, okay,
or if you encountered Margit where you fight Millennia, it would become Margit the Blade of Mikola.
Comma, what's supposed to be there. Okay.
Yeah.
I assume now this as well breaks NPC quest lines, right?
No.
So, really? Because
no, it just means that if you need an item for that NPC quest line, hope you find it.
Because, like, what if, like, you know, Blackguard is, like, has his setup, but then like Dung Eater is flung way into the future, so you can't
Oh,
have that
NPCs
moment.
are in the same spot.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
And their equipment is all randomized as well. So they all look like nonsense.
Super different. Okay. That's fine.
And also the starting equipment of all the starter classes are also randomized. And the randomizer accommodates for that by making sure that you can use the equipment that it randomly placed on you.
So you're doing a max random, but you could make it.
I'll go through with with the community as to what options I should turn on or off. I'm going to turn the hint option on. I'm going to turn the option to fucking buy hints if I'm fucking mega stuck. But yeah, no, you can also there's a secondary randomizer that is too crazy for me, which is randomize all item parameters.
Oh, Jesus
Which,
Christ.
no
So nothing
thanks.
is anything anymore.
Anything can be anything and have any stat requirements and any damage numbers. That's too much. That's too much.
Yeah, like things like that, or like the cost of buying things, or like you still need a structure somewhere.
Oh,
in there
dude,
to...
when I was running the test randomizer, I'm like, oh my god, I don't know how I'm supposed to deal with all these giant enemies inside the fucking tutorial area, and then there's ulcerated tree spirit out there. And then I got to Kale, and he was selling the Dark Moon Greatsword for 1,000 runes. And I was like,
sure.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
that
right.
would be very helpful, wouldn't it?
And I guess, yeah, so if NPCs are all what they are, then like the round table is relatively unaffected, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
When you read the documentation, they're like, you will never have to kill an NPC to get an item to complete their quest, and they've reworked all of it. The craziest thing is you can adjust the bias in this thing. So the default bias is 0%, and it's all eligible locations for items are equally likely, and key items may be in locations that don't require completing many of the game. But you can kick that bias up, which is better rewards for difficult and late locations. And key items will be in different areas to form interesting chains between those areas. So if you put the bias high enough, items will unlock areas for key items to get to other key items, so that you go in weird zigzags all over the place.
So each item's been given a value, and then you can affect that.
But yeah, but that's, I mean, you can put 100% bias.
Well, then how aggressive is the hint system for hit?
So there's two versions. One is purchase markers for required areas from Kale, which gives you the zone or dungeon. And then there's purchase markers for the exact item location, in which it will ping the exact spot on your map for a key item that you may or may not require.
Okay.
So if you could go, I need the Liurnia key.
You buy the hints like usual, but
it would say, hey, it's in this cave.
Right away.
Or if you buy the expensive one, it would be, it's right here, regardless of wherever the fuck that actually happens to be.
I hope FromSoft eventually officially puts something.
No, they will never. They will never. They will never ever. You are crazy.
It's so much fun. That sounds really cool.
It is by far the easiest I've ever had installing one of these like fucky mods onto a From Software game, especially since all the mod managers force you offline when you turn them on. They go, no, you're not playing online with this shit. It will break.
Even if there was like some sort of, well, anyway, I feel like if there was any sort of like ability to increase the value of the replay, the new game plus runs and things like that, like, the modding community comes up with all kinds of wild shit to do that, to give you a reason to go back through it. So
so in looking this up, I discovered and spoke to some people who are like, yeah, man, I'm on my second Elden Ring convergence run. I'm like, what the fuck is that? It's like, okay, so there's convergence and reforged, for people that are like, I am so not waiting for the DLC. We're going to totally overhaul this shit right now with thousands of new spells, new bosses, completely redo the areas. And I'm like, the DLC isn't out. How many times have you guys beaten this fucking game? It's too long already. You're all crazy.
Jesus. Cool.
You're all crazy. But anyway, yeah, go down to twitch.tv/PatStaresAt and you'll get a taste of that crazy, I suppose.
Yeah, folks are saying, yeah, it's true. Rykard does need the special weapon, right? That is a cinematic moment.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, he doesn't actually need it.
But you could struggle. And
you could struggle.
You could struggle, yeah.
Especially if you fight him in the Rune Bear Cave.
Or they could, like, make it so that he always spawns with it nearby or something, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Cool. Okay. Quick break.
Yeah. Let's go.
Right.
Let's go pee.
Beer bit. right. Quick word from our sponsors.
I love you, sponsors.
This week, the podcast is sponsored by Uncommon Goods. And yeah, that is the place to go if you got holiday shopping coming up and you're trying to figure out something interesting, unique, if you want to go shopping for people in your life and you want to get something that's not super obvious but still pretty cool. That's the place to do it. I have talked about it quite a few times because, yeah, there's a lot of cool shit you can find that are the right thing for whoever you're shopping for in your life, and like it's not super obvious. Sometimes there's cool little doodads and doohickeys. I've talked about the self-watering plants and the cool little board games and the cool things for the kitchen as well. In fact, one gift that Punch Mom got me one year was you remember those little rotating viewfinder things where you click and then it rotates the picture to the next frame?
Viewfinder or a slide projector.
A real viewer, right? So yeah, there's like a real viewer, but like with like photos of like stuff, the memories that we've had and stuff like that, and you can get like a custom real viewer with your own memories as like a thing. And I was like, oh shit, that's really cool as well. And like they even have like little fun things like that. So definitely a fun place to shop. Check them out. And a lot of the stuff you're getting there is usually made in limited numbers from small stores, usually handmade in the U.S. So if you're looking to get anything, it might even be like limited, so you wanna make sure you get on top of that. But yeah, Uncommon Goods, been a go-to place to find all kinds of fun stuff for celebrations and Christmas and things like that coming up. Big fan. So if you want to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/superbeast. That's uncommongoods.com/superbeast for 15% off. Don't miss out on a limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, they're all out of the ordinary. And also noted, with every purchase you make, Uncommon Goods gives back $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice, and they've donated more than $2.5 million to date. So, thank you very much, Uncommon Goods.
I love you, Uncommon Goods.
This week, the show is sponsored by BetterHelp. If you are someone who's been thinking about therapy and or been considering getting into it, then yeah, consider checking out BetterHelp. It is online therapy. You can basically be entirely online. It's convenient and flexible. It's suited to your schedule. You basically fill out a brief questionnaire and you get started. You can get matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch them anytime for no additional charge. And yeah, I know multiple people in my life have benefited from therapy and from talking to somebody and worked through stuff in their life. It's a very useful thing to do. And if you in particular have been thinking about it, you've got the opportunity to do so online in a way that is convenient according to your needs and your schedule. So yeah, consider checking them out. You can visit betterhelp.com/superbeast today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/superbeast. Thank you. All right. This week. Oh, a side note as well. I've been meaning to mention this prior, but I forgot to. Me and Reggie are gonna go to a convention in December. We're gonna be at Holiday Matsuri.
Where's that?
So that's in Florida, and it's taking place near Christmas. actually. So we're gonna be
Be
guests.
careful. The Christmas Florida man is a
Christmas
different
Florida.
type.
Christmas Florida is wild, but yeah, we're gonna be in Orlando for this con, the gaming section in particular. So we're gonna be around doing some fighting game stuff and hanging out. There's it's the weekend of the 20th to the 22nd.
Wow, that is close to Christmas.
It's right there. It's right there.
That is right there.
So yeah, if you are in the area, if you know Hall Mat as it's called, we will be down there saying what's up in Orlando. Orlando. All right. What's going on? Well, here's some clarifying words from Giant Bomb's Jeff Grubb. I quote, "Just want to clear this up. Knights of the Old Republic remake is dead. It is not being worked on right now. Full stop. The game is not being worked on in any way at any studio."
No shit. Like, very, very obvious.
So,
I doubt anyone ever worked on it. I'll be very blunt.
so I think the point of bringing this up to like emphasize that it's not being worked on is because ever since they started scrubbing the existence of it off of announcements and social media and shit, and they've been trying to like pretend it never happened, there was still some weirdness because at one of the investor meetings, Embracer Group still said something to the effect of like,
maybe.
I think they kind of implied it was still making progress, right, on one of the earnings calls.
Because if you cancel it, then that'll hurt that quarter.
So they refused to confirm that in their quarterlies. But anyway, apparently, there's literally just nothing. It is not moved or shift around.
Wait, are we talking about Embracer Group? The company that bought all those other companies to increase its valuation for a takeover that didn't happen, and so now they're firing everyone that worked at all of those companies they acquired?
That's correct.
So basically, they just burned hundreds of millions of dollars so that they could fire a bunch of people who were otherwise gainfully employed?
My understanding is that it was some sort of middleman deal where they were purchasing it, but also depending on another deal on the back end to go through. That fell through, and because that deal fell through, they could not afford these purchases that they put.
Oh wow, that's good business right there.
So that is the closest thing to, I guess. I mean, again, it's not official confirmation, but that's full stop underlined. KOTOR ain't happening.
Yeah, so also I should mention that, I mean, there's been rumblings about this or that all over the place, but every time I hear anything about what was it called, Black Eclipse, the fucking Quantic Dream game, the Star Wars game.
Eclipse, I think it was just called.
Is it just Eclipse?
Star Wars Eclipse.
I'm combining it with Black Sun in my mind. Is that they can't staff up for it, and that development hasn't actually started because it's really hard to hire people at Quantic Dream after all that court shit and bad press. So I'm of the opinion that basically both of these games are dead.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, so what exists in Star Wars now? You got your Jedi Survivor.
That game's still kind of a mess. What sucks is because apparently it's a really good game underneath the mess.
Yeah, what are there any games being worked on?
I'm sure there's some people are saying in the chat something from Ubisoft.
There's an Ubisoft thing? Okay.
And as we all know, Ubisoft is really good at shipping games that they don't fully own everything, and I bet you that won't come out.
Outlaws, right. The girl with the little robot buddy.
Yeah, Ubisoft's gonna ship a Star Wars game right alongside the boat game.
Skull and
Boat
Bones.
game.
Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones boat game.
I just
And Beyond Good and Evil 2, don't forget that one. Still coming. Won't admit it's dead.
Anyway, KOTOR is a very good video game. It sucks that everything associated with it news-wise is always awful forever. It sucks that a good game can't get a break, and I hope one day it does, but Jesus fucking Christ, man.
KOTOR... Well,
learning about how good this was and enjoying it later is like it is suffering. Joining this group of people that now enjoys this series has been a net negative.
Yeah, dude, it's this wonderful thing of like, hey,
if you want me to use the terminology.
You want to play a really cool Star Wars game? And you're like, yeah, absolutely. And then like as you're starting to enjoy it, I'm like, by the way, they'll never make anything this good ever again. And all they make is shit that gets canceled like Anthem now. So
getting into KOTOR was a fucking mistake. It just God. From day one you had to fucking patch the second one to make it better. And it's been downhill ever since.
Well, now, oh man, there's more news about that. Aspire Media, the people who just canceled their or have canceled their KOTOR 1 remake, are in court saying that a third party stopped them from releasing the fucking cut content pack on the Switch.
What happened?
They're saying in court that a third party stopped the release of that. So it's not their fault. And but they won't name the third party.
That's the case defense.
Yeah. Huh. But then the rebuttal is going to be, you didn't get clearance before you announced it as a feature to sell items? You idiots.
Yeah, that implies that you announced it before you got all you cleared that sorted. Yeah.
You fucking maroons.
Looking to have the lawsuit dismissed.
I don't know what possible recourse they have. It says, like, when you buy a physical copy of that game, it literally lists shit that will never come out. Like, that's textbook false advertising.
I didn't know there was more awful KOTOR news this week, but there it is.
Oh, yeah, dude, yeah.
The gift that keeps on
totally
giving.
Absolutely. You know, hey, you want more shitty KOTOR news? I got a third one for you.
Let's go.
Though it's a bit old. You know how KOTOR 2 got released and like on the re-released and like was all fancy and fixed up, and you restore the content mod through Steam Workshop, and you're like, yeah, it works, right? Did you know that like if you try and play KOTOR 1 right now, it's a massively fucked up process because the game is old and never got patched? Like, do you remember KOTOR 2 was the fucked up one you had to fix to get playing?
Yes.
Yeah, now KOTOR 1 is the fucked up one that you have to get fixed to get playing. Because it was never updated, and it was made for, like, Windows 98.
What? So, and did the Switch got both? Switch got both, but no expanded content, right?
Yeah. Which I should mention makes the game incompletable on the Switch. Because of the bug where you go to Ondor and you can't leave the fucking ship. The game's a brick once you get to Ondor. It's completely uncompletable.
Well, I mean, look, I guess you can play it in the sense that you can do what I did and just like go fucking get the old PC shit and run it and you know have the game be like, holy fuck, why is your computer so fast? Slow down, oh my god.
Yeah, always fun.
So there's that. Anyways, good times over there. We got
think KOTOR
a
is the last BioWare game that came out when they were not owned by EA.
the last pure.
And you can totally feel it. Because Dragon Age came out, and Dragon Age has like 4 billion fucking DLCs, and you have to log into your BioWare account and all that shit. Jade Empire? Oh man, but Jade Empire sucks, dude. Have you played Jade Empire?
I have not, but I heard
it's terrible.
it's their own unique BioWare only brand KOTOR, right?
Yeah, it's god awful. Oh my god.
I feel like while I was playing KOTOR, I saw some people going, "Hey, Jade Empire was pretty alright too." I heard multiple people saying they liked it when I was playing.
I guess their tolerance for like bad combat and terrible controls is better than mine.
Yeah, overall people were bringing it up as like oh yeah, there was that old thing too. If you want to go back and see what else they did in this style, you know. Anyway, speaking of modding things, Luke Yui, who I believe did co-op for Elden Ring, now modded
the seamless co-op mod.
Seamless co-op for Elden Ring has now modded online co-op for Armored Core 6. Currently, you can have a host plus 5 guests show up in a single-player mission and play together, and it'll just put them next to you, and they can all progress alongside the host players, triggering of each step. But you can fight all the different bosses, and there's just like clips of like multiplayer actually happening in the game. So that is wild.
I have one question. Are the enemies kicked up a notch to accommodate that there are 5 extra players?
It's in alpha, so the point is to just make it work. We're not at, I don't imagine that they're at the stage of trying to balance it in any way.
I'm just saying, like, boy, those enemies are not ready for a fucking whole squad of ravens.
Between this and Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, it appears that like any game that has any kind of like online connectivity feature, and then in some other mode, you can very quickly, if you know what you're doing, just fucking pick that up and drop it into a different unintended mode and still get results that work. You know, because if you have to get a room with 3v3 and like 2 people fighting and 2 people and then people waiting by the wayside, then you already have the infrastructure for 5, right? So I look forward to seeing.
I bet it's something really simple, like just telling the game that you're pulling people into a fucking versus match, and then loading the fucking mission instead of the arena.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. What I want to see is like a mission like Strider, with like a gigantic, insane stage that you can all like hit on different areas and spread apart and just take it down quickly. That'd be a pretty fun thing to check out. In particular,
because there's a couple boss fights in that game that I would like, assuming they were scaled up, would be massively coolly improved by having a huge team of guys.
Yeah. That's super sick. So, you know what? Chalk that up to another fucking PC win for that, because when I got the console version of Armored Core, I didn't expect to also run into just like custom build and logo emblem problems where like, they're not cross-play or cross-platform. So
absolutely
most of
dumb.
the shit uploaded is all for PC only. And,
because the PC players are all insane, and they're probably using programs to help them, put that shit together.
I could go either way with most of my purchases, but like if it's something where I'm like, let me just run it on this and it's simple. I don't feel if I don't like feel like configuring much, I'll just be like, let me just grab the console if they're both the same ultimately.
I mean, that's always the case, right? I
easier.
don't feel like dealing with this bullshit. Then you play it on the console.
but now we have like actual feature issues. So yeah.
I think the absolute best part about Armored Core on PC is if you go down to Zuli the Witch's channel on YouTube.
Good job.
She and many others have figured out how to rip fucking Armored Core assets out and just drop them in Elden Ring.
Into other
so you can
FromSoft
be like,
games. Yeah.
how fucking big is an Armored Core? How big is this boss? Like, she dropped the Strider into the lands between, and it's larger than the entire world.
God damn. Step 2, of course, is then make the bosses fight each other and do a whole tournament like a bunch of other YouTube channels have done in the Souls games. Fucking Nameless King versus whatever, King of the Giants, or yeah.
Could
Nonsense.
this Elden Ring character beat up Iguazu? The answer is probably. Because Iguazu sucks.
ONS versus the Foreskin Bros.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
there it is. Okay, yeah, it took
Yeah,
a second.
took a
Took a
second.
second.
You'll get
Took
there.
a second.
Make your brain reach for it.
All right, I don't like that.
Yep. Well,
I don't like that at all.
speaking of things I don't like,
All right, yeah, this is good. I like
have
this.
you seen the trailer for Madam Web?
Oh man, Sony really wants to keep that deal. Oh, we gotta keep that deal, bro. Oh, we gotta.
Man.
Don't put Spider-Man in it.
Morbius 3 already?
Oh man. Oh,
Already?
dude.
We're morbing again for the 3rd time?
What to
Holy
you? What was
shit.
Morbius 2?
I mean, was Craven not Morbius 2?
God, fuck! That's not even out yet, is it? Is it?
Craven is
Did it?
Morbius 2.
It is. It is Morbius 2. Like how he craved all over those guys.
And now it's time to Madam Morb. This is so fucking crazy to me because I know she's become more and more of a character, but to me, Madam Web, and this is super outdated, but here's what it is. Right?
Oh, I know exactly what you're gonna say.
Madam Web represents the fucking end of the cartoon that never got an ending and is just literally the last episode, Spider Carnage, and then where are we off to? We're off to find the real Mary Jane. And then they walk into the distance, and that's the fucking end of Spider-Man.
Bro,
That's all she is.
I'm changing the baby, right? I'm changing the
sucks.
baby. I'm cleaning up poop. Baby's laughing at me because he thinks it's hilarious that I got to change his diaper. And Paige goes from the living room, like, oh, there's a Madam Web trailer. And I'm like, the old lady who sits in a chair and doesn't move?
That's it.
What?
So yeah, she has time vision powers, and she has some friends, and there's some guy that's wearing a Spidey type suit, and
Oh man, I burst out laughing when I saw not
God.
evil Spider-Man.
it's so rough. It's so fucking rough.
Man,
Yeah, Madam
Bro,
Orb coming soon. I mean, look, Sony knows they have, like, they're clearly committed. We're building this up, whether you like it or not. We don't care how you feel. We're building this up. You know,
I think it's incredibly brave to go, hey, everyone in the whole world hates every single part of Spider-Man is actually a magic spider totem man. Let's dive real deep on that in our movie. Let's take the stupidest part of Spider-Man that's ever existed and let's just dive really. Oh, it's so brave.
the stupidest part and the character that represents like the worst fucking burn from that original series as well. Just a sour note of a character in her existence. You know,
Wait, wait, Peter Parker, he got bit by a radioactive spider and it changed his, his biology, so he's a spider, right? No. He was chosen to be the avatar of the spider totem via some magic thing. Oh my god, it's the worst. It's the worst thing I've ever heard. It's so awful. It's so awful.
And now that we know about the tech that the studios use for Batgirl and now Coyote versus Acme, it's wild to see shit like this actually hit the theater and not just get dropped for taxes.
Well, it's fun that you mentioned that, actually. Are you up to date with Coyote versus Acme?
So that story is one I've heard of. It's a complete movie filmed and in the can, totally done. They then decided, fuck this, we're gonna just write it off as a loss and not put it out. Therefore fucking over anybody who worked on it.
Yeah.
And after pushing back, I believe, and then I don't think James Gunn said anything about it, but there was eventually okay, they're gonna allow them to shop it around to other publishers so that someone who's not Warner Brothers can put out a Warner Brothers character movie. Mm-hmm. Which is wild and weird.
So did you hear why that happened? Like why they changed their mind?
Because it was illegal?
No, that's come on, that's naive. That's like hilariously naive.
Well, is there not a case going on that they're being litigated against?
That came out after they had backed down already. No, the reason why is because Warner Brothers was having every meeting with every filmmaker and actor get canceled. Because people were going, I'm going to make a whole movie and you're going to just throw it away? No, I'm going to go somewhere else. So they had put themselves into the position of everyone was just going to be completely unwilling to make any more movies with them.
I thought they were facing fucking a lawsuit because of this shit and went, okay, no.
Not a lawsuit. They're facing congressional inquiries from the United States government.
Well, there you go.
Because the U.S. government is looking at them going, this is the equivalent of burning down your house for the insurance money.
Exactly. It is exactly that, actually. Yes.
But that decision from Congress, from some Congress people, happened after they had already decided to back down and let it be shopped around.
I thought it was a direct result of that. Okay.
No.
And now I don't know. Do you remember when we first heard about this tech? I believe the first time we caught this was with legendary filmmaker Uwe Boll.
That's right.
Always finding a way to secure funding for his next disaster piece. And it was like, but how? How does he keep getting to make
the German
movies?
Government would write off his whole movie.
Every single time. It was always
a loss. And
that's,
by the way, that's why you don't see Uwe Boll movies anymore, is because Germany closed that loophole and he cannot actually get funding for his films.
But like every one of those was all a write-off, and he just got to like sweep past it and get money for the next one, every single time. And then still have a premiere, still show up to Fantasia Film Fest where he was there for Postal, but still have it be considered overall a loss and then get paid back.
That was a great experience.
Insanity.
That was transcendent because we're sitting in the film festival watching what might be like objectively the worst movie I've ever seen, and Uwe is there. He's in the crowd and he's chatting with people, and he did a Q&A, and he was very likable and very charming. And there's a part in the movie in which he's being interviewed as Uwe Boll about how does he keep making money. And so because I found all this Nazi gold.
Yeah.
Like, as a goof.
Yeah.
As you're watching what everyone in the theater knows is a fake movie that exists to defraud the German government, and he knows, he's like telling you overtly,
and he knows that that
it's a fake movie in the movie, and then he gets up and like, hey everybody, woo, how'd you like my fake movie? It was so weird. What an experience.
It was the closest thing to being at the opening of a Chris Moltisanti film. when Chris Moltisanti from The Sopranos wanted to be a Hollywood film writer, being at just a criminal film opening, You know,
It's like, what if you got to hang out with Nathan Lane at the fucking premiere of Springtime for Hitler?
sure, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you're there, like this is it. This is actually it's going down. And I want to say after that he went on to make Dungeon Siege or so. He did that wasn't even his last
tons
one.
Of garbage, man.
You know, before they finally closed that shit up. But yeah, so that's what it is. And you know what kind of sucks too is that like the premise. Do you know the premise for Coyote versus Acme?
So I don't, but I'm gonna guess based off the name of the film that Wile E. Coyote is suing Acme because it did not allow him to kill the Roadrunner.
Because all of their products keep hurting him.
That's great. That's great. It's a great.
It's a super good premise. Yeah, he's suing Acme Corp because all of the shit always hurts him and fucking backfires, and he's like, "This is bullshit," you know. Super super strong premise. Like I totally want to see that. And
apparently, according to earlier reviews, it was like one of the best movies Warner Brothers had ever made.
Everyone loved it, and it had like live action with animation in it type of thing. So I guess that kind of Space Jam sort of thing. You know, yeah, fight. You know, like John Cena's in it apparently.
Like, listen, everyone in Hollywood is like a secret lizard person that eats children and spits fire and acid, and they're all psychos. But people who go into acting and directing and writing probably at some part in their deep monstrous core do want to actually make a cool thing.
Well, look, all you have to do is just like take this to anyone in the industry for video games who's worked on shit that's been pretty much at the finish line and then just shit canned and have them be like, well, time for me to go like shop my resume around and I'm still under NDA, but hey, I spent the last 5 years doing something really cool. Can't show you any
unannounced
of it.
Project.
That's awesome. You know,
can I see it? No.
So, you know, oftentimes there will be like, hey, on the exit, you'll try to get a thing like, hey, I want to show my work off. Can I get an exemption for that for these purposes?
No.
You know, sometimes you'll have an arrangement, but for the most part, if it's locked down, it's locked down, and that's it. So people in video games know what the fuck it's like to have this shit to have happen, and it can destroy your fucking, you know, your work history, man. It sucks.
So we've talked about it in brief in individual states, but it should be noted that like while this is the best year for video game playing in like a decade, this is like the absolute worst year to work in the games business in just as long. Like tens of thousands of layoffs in many cases for no reason.
Shout outs to, I think, what was the hard drive article? Game Awards category for best layoff.
Best layoffs gotta go to Bungie. They definitely have the best layoffs this year.
And the nominees are like... Oh, God. Yeah. Just, you know, how are we going to forget the category that, you know, affected us the most, really?
I saw what might be the most disingenuous, funny take on all this layoff shit, which is, you know what's wrong with all these companies? The mob isn't as deeply ingrained in them as it used to be. See, back in the day, the mob would take a percentage of your profits off the top. So you had to have enough to pay the mob and keep everybody employed so you could make enough money to pay the mob. But now that the mob has lost a lot of its power in America, you can just give that money to yourself.
Tony's not around taking skim off the top. That's the problem. We need to return to those days. Like... God damn it, dude.
And that's why Japanese companies don't do as bad with this.
There you go. Sega figured it out.
Is much, much more deeply ingrained with a lot of those companies than the mob is in American game companies.
Sega did, in fact, figure it out. We need to return to the days of kidnapping developers' sisters. Whatever happened. Whatever happened to us.
You don't get as much money. Listen, Fat Shinji, you don't get as much money from the company in the arcades anymore. What if we made the Godfather of Yakuza every single year forever?
Fat Shinji. It's too hot today. Hatsui Oh. Yeah, okay. Sure. Anyways, Madam Web coming to theaters only soon. Good stuff.
Uncle Ben's in that movie.
Oh yeah. Dude, I saw Iron Spider like legs flip out from behind that dude at some point. I mean, here's the thing though.
You
like,
know they're gonna beat that guy up with girl power, right? And they're gonna be
of course,
like, we're not the spider people. We're the female Ghostbusters or whatever the fuck they're gonna
and
say.
we're gonna stinger Morb. We're gonna stinger Morb and Craven clearly at some point. But what I need is the screenshot of the moment inevitably where she's sitting in her web chair and has the goofy goggles on to become the Madam Web, though.
and then Morbius and Michael Keaton will just be in the room.
We need the shot
because their VFX is not done.
So she's set up to be the Oracle of this universe. You know it's happening.
Bro.
All right.
We gotta keep this deal, man. We gotta Spider-Man. Oh man, we gotta come on. What has Spider-Man got? What can we do a movie about Spider-Man, not Spider-Man? I got one. We're gonna make the new movie, the next movie. It's gonna be about some fucking dipshit named oh god, what's his fucking name? The Jackal, and he's gonna clone a bunch of people. People like that story, right? Yeah, they love that shit. He's gonna be about the clone Jackal.
Dude, I bet you someone somewhere, a writer was like, no, I can make a Clone Saga movie and it'll be good though. I bet you someone tried. Somewhere on the cutting room floor, there is a film called The Clone Saga, and
I remember so I don't read Spider-Man or any comics for that matter. So I asked a friend of mine, "What's the deal with the Clone Saga?" And he looked like I had hit him.
Just
like he looked pained, like I had struck him with my hand.
Just yell Kane at the top of your voice as loud as you can. Oh boy. All right.
I think the funniest thing about when I was playing through Spidey 2 is every now and then I'd be like, what's going on in comic Spider-Man right now? And everybody like, no. Like, people don't even want to talk about it. Like, just everyone's just constantly upset. Most popular character that's ever existed.
Yeah. So, I anxiously await your Madam Web review.
Oh yeah, you know.
When you as that enters the mandatory viewing list.
You know, I gotta watch it.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of knowing you had to do it to him.
Oh yeah.
So Starbucks decided to celebrate Native American History Heritage Month. And I don't know if you saw, but the poster that they put up, kind of mentions that and includes a lot of the
You can do it. You can get it. You can get through it. You can do it.
It includes, a lot of the history of where this comes from and the importance of it. And they include a number of Native American imagery, designs and patterns and visuals, such as the circular water tribe emblem from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oh, God bless Starbucks. I mean, just, Like, think about just the thought process of the graphic designer at 4 a.m, whose job it was to get this in yesterday, just Googling as quickly as they can, and
Was
like
this
not even the remotest, slightest hint of a fuck, and just being like, oh yeah, here's a one of them icons. This looks like it that those this is one of those things that in the style of the dark people. Let's just get it right in there.
so
Woo!
would this be the same like graphic design person that was behind the Pope's Exorcist? Did you hear about this, Wooly?
I did not. I did
So
not.
in the Pope's Exorcist with Russell Crowe, you got to exorcise a demon from the Pope, and the Inquisition, them old boys, they play a pivotal role.
Oh yeah.
And they cut to some various sets and some clothing and whatnot that has the symbol of the Inquisition on it, except it's the symbol of the Dragon Age Inquisition all over them.
I mean, that's just good wholesome fun, you know? That's just good old IGN watermark on the Okami box art fun.
Damn it.
You take that one home and you appreciate that. You keep it in the pocket.
A in-house image of the the box. Oh.
But this one I do particularly like the implication that Native Americans are all water benders and and that it's all the same shit, really.
It's kind of not my place, right? But I should tell you something. I don't think I've ever brought it up since I've came out to BC. BC is a very different part of Canada. It's a different culture, it's a different tone, it's a different thing, right? And oftentimes you will go to a public building or a restaurant or something, and you will look down at the bottom of the menu and it will say, we recognize that this restaurant is based off of the ancestral land.
Oh yeah, the land acknowledgements.
So and so.
Every Just for Laughs show opens up with one of those too. Yeah.
And it's so fucking lame and performative.
Nah,
and
bro, we're fixing it. No. What are you talking about? We're fixing it, man. Every time.
Like, it's cringe. We're still gonna keep
fixing it.
Like,
we're fixing it one acknowledgement
oh
at a time. This is how we do it. Never mind the bodies we're uncovering up north, right? Drop that flag to half mast and drop one of those.
So cheap.
And I want to say that like when they first started doing them, it was like someone reading it into the mic, and I think eventually they just recorded a WAV file and just play it over the speaker every time after the mic test.
Oh, it's so
we're at that point. Oh yeah, no man, this is how you do it.
It's like, does your fucking guilty liberal heart fucking just cry a single tear and then move on when you get to say the bottom of your menu? Like, oh my god, it's so embarrassing.
Mm-hmm. Look, we all know and we all learned about the important history of when the boats came over and they met the Native Americans, and the Fire Nation attacked with
that's right, yeah,
asbestos blankets. We know how this goes. Mm-hmm. We've been over this. We've learned. So just let Starbucks do its thing and get your fucking pumpkin spice and get the fuck out of here. All right, leave it alone. Take a look as you sip and then walk out of there.
Have you discovered the weaponization of this nonsense therapy talk? Hey man, give me my stuff back. Listen, I hear you. And I see you. But I'm not going to give it back. And you just need to be done feeling your feelings over there, and we can get back to this when you're calm. No, I'm not going to give it back. No. I feel like I have just damaged you. I'm looking at you and you seem like I have struck you.
I've seen this clip.
Your feelings are really valid right now, Wooly. Hey, I know what you're feeling, and it's so valid. I'm not going to engage with you at anything above even the most baseline surface level possible, but I want you to know that you're valid and I can hear you, even though I'm not listening to you at all.
Oh my, just call me a nigger. Just call me a nigger. Stop it. Just do it. I can't deal. I can't deal, bro. I can't fucking deal with it. Like, oh my God. Like, I like, oh, yeah, no, I'm familiar. I'm fucking familiar, bro. Oh my God. Yes, all too well. Damage, dude. I can't handle it. It's the worst.
It's the worst.
That's why I like things over here. In the overt, in the overt,
yeah.
Get the spotlight yourself.
Comfy.
Give me
comfy
that.
Over
Give
here.
me that
Everybody,
clarity,
I can see it. Yeah, I can see.
Don't. No, I can't. Oh, fuck off. All right, look. There's some nice things. There are some nice things this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got to see 8 minutes of gameplay of Unicorn Overlord.
I'm so glad they're releasing that in between a bunch of releases that will make certain that it will never sell even one copy.
Well, look.
Sorry, it will sell 2 copies because I know you and I will buy it.
Now, I fucking Vanillaware gets its exemption, but this is coming out on PlayStation 5, Xbox, Switch, and not PC. So once again, we learned no lessons. It looks so good.
I can't wait to not be playing Persona 3 Reload or Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth so that I can play Unicorn Over. I am constantly saying the word Unicorn Overload because I think that's a funnier title, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Sure, that's fine.
I'm sorry, Vanillaware.
That's fine. Stree. It's okay. The gameplay, like it looks really cool, man. It
does look really cool.
You're getting your tactica action going on. The map is interesting because it's like you're doing a tactical RPG, but it's again non-isometric, right? So you kind of move your units on an open like field in a way, and then you go from a whatchamacallit, Octopath Traveler style, pretty this NES graphic or SNES graphic kind of style world into the Vanillaware beauty once the action starts happening and stuff. Yeah, man, it's just it looks pretty comfy, and like I feel like whatever genre they jump into, I'm down to just follow that art style around. Whatever George is doing, he's got my attention. Looks cool. So
it looks very cool.
We will see. And also, I guess the other question is like, how's the replay value going to be on it? / what are they going to do to, maximize the use of the sprites, because they take forever. They're labors of love, and they've got room for like 12 of them. Whatever boss you fight, you're going to fight 8 times.
But this time, he's red. Ooh.
And, this one's kind of just like it's like, okay, Rivals of Aether 2.
Doing very well on its Kickstarter. Extraordinarily well.
I mean, look, it came out, it within 3 hours, it blew past its funding, but as they kind of explained in the video, it feels less like a Kickstarter that was even, like, it's not real in the sense, because like they had already put in $2 million worth of work into it, and it looks fucking incredible. Rivals of Aether is, in my opinion, the best of the platform fighters. It's so good. And But this time around, like they already were, at that point in development, and this was to get, I guess, the last 250K, which within 3 hours they already hit 900 or so. So, I mean, or 837 right now. That's where it's at. But either way, like it's Rivals of Aether. It's on a new engine. It's in 3D. All and there's the Aether games have been building up a universe in the background because there's like the card game and a bunch of other spin-off things. This one in particular, they also showed off some new features as well that were like, they're like, here's old returning features, here's your dodge, here's your parry, all that stuff, and then there's like, here's returning features, and then here's new to the genre features, and those were interesting. So there's been a number of Smash likes as we've seen over the years, and as far as platform fighters go, it's like, okay, are you going to have like a thing that's different with your percentage, or what's going to be unique about your angle? Rivals has kind of just done it really well with their move lists, I think, shining the most. When you think about it, it's not necessarily like the life mechanics or anything else about like the system. It's just, I find the characters and the moves they have to be like some of the most unique and fun ones, to the point where like some of those ideas you started seeing in in Smash Ultimate after the fact, when I feel like Steve from Minecraft had stuff that was kind of like Crag, the beetle. So what they then showed off in the trailer that I thought was pretty dope was specials from ledge grab, unique to your character, specials from being on the ground to waking up, unique to your character, and specials from grab.
That's a bunch of shit. That's a bunch of shit.
So even more things you can do, and that are like, again, character unique things, and like that's the strongest part of that game that stands out. Like I said, it's just like the specials and the way how unique they are and how they like make the characters play in a way that's very different from other Smash characters. Anyone can make an up B sword slash, down B counter, yada yada, spark or shine or charge attack or whatever. But like a lot of what Rivals does feels like it's a really fun way to do it. And so super excited for this one for sure. Plus, rollback, plus single player confirmed, and all these other features. So yeah, this was just a bit of a like final like little push. And also really like, if you want to it's like, because it's such a like, it's so far along, this is almost like marketing as well in a way, getting the word out there, like by just being like, hey, want to get in on these whatever special things and or stretch goals or whatever they can do, then like sure, but Rivals of Aether is the one for me that I
do you mean
check out.
On top of Smash or after Smash? Because you say the best platform fighter, but do you mean like not including Smash Brothers? Or
I mean besides Smash, like,
okay, that's okay.
That's what I mean. Yes. There's and then I would say third, I enjoyed Slap City a whole lot in that space. But again, as per usual with the Kickstarter caveat, it is already funded, and it is up to you. So just go check it out.
There's always the possibility that the Sun may decline to allow this game's release.
Yes, that's correct.
So be aware.
You never know.
The Sun may in fact stop it.
Okay. Let's
So I don't know how to put this in the news, but I've been itching to talk about this for the whole podcast. Hey, Ridley Scott, I don't think Napoleon shot the pyramids with cannons. To which Ridley Scott replies, shut up, you don't know, you weren't there.
Wait, what's happening with Napoleon?
Oh,
I didn't
I'm so
see.
glad you don't know about this. So Ridley Scott's doing a biopic historical drama of
I saw the trailer.
Napoleon.
I saw the trailer for it with
right.
Joaquin
Okay.
Phoenix.
So French people and like hundreds of historians around the world are going, "What the fuck? Like tons of that shit didn't happen." And Ridley Scott's reaction is, "Were you there?" You don't know that. I'm just getting hated on by the French. The French hate themselves. They don't want to see cool shit.
I mean, are we doing like Tarantino-esque, like we do fun history this time around? Is that what we're doing? Also, aren't we doing a Gladiator 2? I heard they're doing a Gladiator 2.
I don't know about that.
I
Is it
heard
going to
there's
feature the same characters?
No, I think it's starring Denzel Washington or something like that.
Oh, okay. But yeah, no, the thing about like, "Were you there?" That is a direct quote. That is not me like paraphrasing.
That's pretty good.
But
oh
yeah,
yeah,
no, like,
I did see the French don't even like themselves. I did see that. I did see that.
French critics are being like, this movie is well directed, but it's also nonsense because it's like it's lies. like don't get, and like normally you're like, oh, it's historical fiction, right? No, it's based on a true story, the story of Napoleon, one of the most well-documented people that have ever existed in the history of the world. A man whose every day was documented to some degree, including where he was for the positions of all historical events that occurred in his time.
Do you mean to tell me that the 300 did not face down an army of Morlocks and mutants and monster genetic freak assassins?
See, Wooly, that's the actual reason people are giving Ridley Scott guff. 300 did not pretend to be anything other than a complete fantasy, right? 300 was no one but the dumbest idiot looked at 300 and was like, well, this is clearly a comic booky or fantastical retelling of whatever. When they see fucking Darius come down, or no, Xerxes. Darius was dead. Xerxes comes down and he's like 12 and a half fucking feet tall and speaking with a god voice, right? But Napoleon is pretending to be like a historical like reenactment of events that did happen. So when people in Egypt and France go, Napoleon didn't fucking shoot the pyramids with cannons, dude. And he's like, maybe he did. You don't know. And people are like, yeah, no, we do. Everyone knows he didn't shoot the pyramids with cannons.
Okay, but is it hype, though?
It is.
Shit. Damn. Yeah, I think I expect, because I expect to go see that and look around the theater and just and point out, these are the motherfuckers that are thinking about the Roman Empire every day.
Oh yeah.
Look, take a look around. That is who that meme is aimed at.
I think the funnest part, and I know you and I have been guilty of it as well, it's like, yeah, just because you saw it in a realistic drama does not mean it actually happened. Which is why when you make a historical piece of media, maybe you try.
That also led to a hilarious moment when after we walked out of Killers of the Flower Moon, and I was talking about everything in that, and Punch Bomb was just like, wow, yeah, no, it was really cool and interesting that they kind of created this like this setting where there was like, rich native people that then had people coming in, and I was like,
you can't, Wooly, you have told me this story before with a different movie. This is the second time you have told me the exact same story about you walking out of a film with Punch Bomb and her going, wow, that was a crazy movie that they invented all that shit. Can you believe it? Did you ever talk about the first one?
Which one was it?
It was Django Unchained.
Like,
don't you remember? Where you walked out and she was like, wow, that was really brutal. But it wasn't really like that, was it?
the concept of Mandingo fighting and the shit they're going. Yes, not the events of Django Unchained.
No, but like, oh, that was so brutal. Oh
yeah,
my goodness.
Yeah. No, this has been a thing. Also, that I mean, I then part of the conversation was like, also that Wolf of Wall Street was a real Jordan Belfort's a real person, and then
I just saw a great comment that I would like to respond to, which is somebody in the chat said, "When will white people learn?" Dude, I don't have to. I don't have to if I don't wanna.
But yes, so like I in summation, I'm like, so were we under the impression that the Osage Nation was like a Wakanda setting for for the native people of the 1920s America? Is this what we were? Yeah. So, you need to put up front when it's history, and I think Napoleon is no exception. Good shit. Fuck it.
There's a scene where he's like watching Marie Antoinette get executed, and people are like, he's like 4 countries away. He was not there. What are you fucking talking about?
Bro. But is it hype though? Rule of cool. God damn it. He was everywhere. Bigger than history. Fuck it. I'm on board, actually. I say don't stop.
Yeah, okay, fine. Napoleon wasn't even short. That's one of the most fun little historical analogs.
That's the big one. Yeah, that was petty rumor making
it's a combination of the British
to cut him
saying
down.
He was short, and then looking at historical data of how tall people were in the day. Mm-hmm. And going, oh wow, people were really short back. This guy was really short. It's like everybody was short back then.
It's Scarlet Pimpernel shit, It's we need to put those Frenchies in their place. We do. However we can.
Also, the fact that he's like, Ridley Scott's a British guy, and people are like, this is a British guy making a movie about a French guy, and he's wrong. And when the French are like, you're wrong, he's like, I don't care, you stupid French.
Hey, how about you shut the fuck up? How about that? Yeah, no, to be fair, because I mean, like, hard cut to like, the Scorsese like working with the Osage descendants and talking to the grandkids of the people in the movie, and everyone that's hired there is from the actual tribe, and didn't work in like doing the whole authenticity thing. Like and there's a bumper in the beginning of the movie of him just talking about the fact that, hey, we worked with everybody here and it's super legit and authentic. Just over to Ridley going, hey, Frenchies, fuck off. How about that?
Why do you hate yourselves? I tried to make you look cool, but you stupid and you smell.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. Just the Assassin's Creed message. This movie was not made from a group of different faiths or creeds and beliefs.
No, it was made by me.
All right. If you've got a letter, castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
Keep your questions brief, and we'll be more likely to answer them.
All right, we got one coming in from Gabe. He says, hey, Wat and Pooley, we can point to a few characters that are quickly defined as woolly bait, but what qualifies as pat bait?
I don't know.
I mean, long redhead, long hair redhead,
the Oscar type.
That's it.
Like the what's her name in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? The Koichi's true love.
Oh, yeah, sure, her, right?
Yeah, that's romance right there.
Complete psycho.
Put a small hat on him.
Mm-hmm.
You ever see Jill Valentine? She's got a cute hat.
Yukako. Mm-hmm. Yandere energy, and Also, she has to have tank controls. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that
There you go.
helps.
That's it. We got one coming in.
I agree with Reggie. Red flags do need love too.
There you go.
I wholeheartedly agree with him.
So like I put an asterisk on that because there are some circumstances where because it like we hit Karlach in the playthrough and Reggie's like, "Nah, bro, I'm out." And I'm like, I'm more in than I've ever been.
You know, Wooly, it's funny that you mentioned that because like it really says a lot about like D&D and role playing people and whatnot, where okay, you've got your cast of characters for your romancing perusal, right? I'm just gonna reference the first 6, right? You've got severely bad toxic man Gale who can't get over his ex.
Okay.
Then you have very damaged piece of shit narcissist man Astarion. Meanwhile, over on the girl side, you have religious psycho racist gatekeeper piece of shit Shadowheart and full-on supremacist psycho bitch Lae'zel. And then you have 2 puppy dogs.
I see. I mean, look, Will seems a little cocky so far, but I don't know enough yet, you know.
Kind of a goober. He's a good guy.
Okay. He seems to be sniffing his own farts a little bit though, you know.
But like of the core cast, it's a red flag fiesta. It's F1 season. And then they realize, wow, every single character we made is like a complete piece of shit. Let's put some nice people in here with Will and Carla.
Yeah, she's A++, no notes.
Like, you're not gonna get to see Minthara, but Minthara is such a fucking bitch that she refuses to learn Gale's name. She only refers to him as the wizard.
Wow. Yeah. We got one. Hi, apply funny name brackets Wooly and apply funny name brackets Pat code language. Nice little code joke there.
I like it.
I recently played Stasis Bone Totem on Pat's recommendation, and I've seen the original Stasis pop up in my recommended list, but I have no particular urge to go back and try it. Stasis seems like a cromulent game. It's just that I'm satisfied with Bone Totem. Do you have any examples of sequels that you can just approach as one and done, divorced of quality concerns?
Yeah, Zone of the Enders is the second runner.
Zone of the Enders is the clear, obvious answer at the top of the list every time. You do not need to play Zone of the Enders 1. The second runner even gives you a 20-minute summary of a 50-minute game or you know, whatever it is. So you can really just not bother. I would say more to the another example would be Lisa, the painful. You don't really need to go play Lisa the original.
Hey, would you believe that I've been looking at Lisa on Steam for a while and genuinely cannot fucking tell which game is which?
The ones that have a colon followed by a subtitle are the good ones.
Okay. All right. I would add Star Ocean 2 to that Star Ocean 1's a okay game, but Star Ocean 2 knocks it right the fuck out of the park. I would put Nier Automata on that list. You get one big thing from Nier, but Nier kind of sucks.
Titanfall is on the list because it has to be, because you literally cannot play Titanfall 1.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
So fucking whatever, you know that. Yeah. But yeah, there you go.
I just saw somebody say you can skip the fuck out of fucking Hitman Codename 47, and boy, are they right. Holy shit. That first Hitman game sucked. It was really cool back in like 97 or whatever the fuck it was.
The one where your directions were like were like literally WASD, but then all extra circle buttons around that, so that it was like I remember it had all 4 directions, and then it had the 8 extra, and then different it was basically recreating analog on your keyboard. It was insane.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being very confused by that. Yeah, sure. There you go.
People are also saying Street Fighter, which
Yeah, well, I mean, fine. That's okay. No one's gonna give you guff over not wanting to fight against the fucking.
You ever look down and you see like the hottest takes you've seen in a while? I just saw somebody in the chat say Civilization only got good at 4. And I'm like, man, a lot of people's dads will fight you on that. You're crazy.
Hold up. Legacy of Kain? Really?
Oh, do you ever seen Blood Omen?
I have. I watched someone playing that in microplay for half an hour.
It's a little rough. It's a little rough.
It looked like a different game, but I saw some cool stuff. I saw a top view camera with some wolf transformation going down, and I was
listen,
like, oh.
I've played Legacy of Kain Blood Omen. It's a little rough. It's all I'm saying.
I watched a half hour of it like a million years ago, and that's the only footage I have in my brain. And I thought I'm like, oh, that looks kind of interesting. But
Legacy Soul Reaver was made under the explicit idea that you didn't play Blood Omen because Kane's bad. Got him. And then you get to Defiance, and they're like, hope you fucking played Blood Omen because we're going to reference the doll timeline. I'm like, oh my god, you people are crazy.
Yeah. What happens in Dark Forces 1?
You steal the Death Star plans.
And then...
I don't know.
And then question mark, Jedi Outcast.
Mm-hmm.
All right, anyway. There you go. All right, and let's take one over here. Sebastian says, hey, so between Magus from Chrono Trigger or the Turks from FF7, who do you forgive the quickest for their crimes against humanity and personal crimes against the main cast?
Oh, Magus, easy. He's so fucking... He joined your party!
Okay, so Magus... not only does Magus join your party, but if I'm recalling correctly, Magus was like kind of fucked from the jump with
time shit.
The time shit from Zeal. And then landing and getting like raised by a villain, right?
Yeah.
And then everything he's doing is he's kind of like causing war just to get stronger to kill Lavos, who actually needs killing. Whereas the Turks,
fuck that, he's got dual text with Frog.
He's got triple text. Let's fucking go. Delta fucking But and he also looks like Vegeta, but that's besides the point.
It's not.
Meanwhile, the Turks are like not only pressing the button, but now we get the remake justification of, hey man, someone has to take the fall, and we need to take that on ourselves. We know it's wrong, but that's why we put ourselves in the line.
Yeah, but then Rude's like, I want to fuck your girlfriend, and you're like, no, Rude, this one's mine. Fuck off.
But then he's got the cool fucking goggles and the suits, and you're like, oh, you rascals. Oh, you evil fucking murderous sons of bitches. You're cool. Yeah. No, there's no, like, Magus attacks Guardia. He's not good. You know. But, yeah. I think his life was fucked up enough that...
I think it's an unfair comparison because Magus joins your party and he kicks ass as soon as he joins the party.
But not just that. No, but like in terms of like crimes against humanity and the main characters, you know, Magus.
Who cares about that timeline?
Magus wages an unjust war in you know the whatever and the desire for power to defeat Lavos, and the Turks are like, yeah, we'll drop this plate.
Hey man, if
we working overtime hours, what are we doing?
If Frog can let it go, then I can.
There you go. And besides, without Magus and Shala, we don't lead directly to...
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
I didn't even get there. You didn't let me finish.
I'm taking it back. It's the Turks all the way. I forgive the Turks.
All right. That'll do.
That'll do. All right. You have a good week, everybody. Stay safe out there.